Hello again, everybody. Welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. This is Monday. It's the Halas Hangover, and Zach Pearson's dropping by to give us some insight on what he's seeing at OTAs. We're going to drop a little stadium saga on him, too, before he gets out of here. Get his thoughts on that. We'll talk Bears secondary and a lot more right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Boy, it's a fun Monday in Chicago. A little hot, little humid. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing good. Hot and humid. That's exactly how I'm doing. But, return of the warm weather means more football. And before you know it, it'll be end of July. And we'll be getting ready for training camp. And then, boom, August just flies by.
Yeah, absolutely. Boys, how's everybody else doing up there? Up top of the top row.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm not tired. I'm ready to fucking roll. Zach, thank you for being here, man. I didn't get a chance to talk to you before we jumped on, but really appreciate you jumping on. Good to see you.
Of course.
So we only got a little bit of time with Zach today because sorry, Brandon, what did you gonna say?
I'm doing good. I know we'll get to it later, guys, but the Stacey King hits home for me.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about that a little bit later on today. Got some film, got some lost videos of Stacey King to drop on everybody a little bit later. Should be a lot of fun down the road. But before Zach has to go, we gotta get some insight from him on what he's seeing out there because everybody's already freaking out. Kyler Gordon's injured, soft tissue yet again. Now Rome Odunze saying his foot's not the same. Zach, what have you seen out there? Bird's eye view on the field around the football team.
Yeah, I'll start with this. So we were out there twice in the past couple of weeks. We get about an hour and like 15 minutes of practice. Obviously, they do more, without us there. They do more the days we're not there. And for me, what I've kind of noticed in a couple of things is Ben Johnson's OTAs are a lot different than previous coaches. It's a little more light, a little more focused on the details, getting everything organized and straight. And I think last year we saw issues with that, with, the false starts and not being able to get lined up when they do 11 on 11 drills. This year, I think I saw 1 or 2 false starts. Everything that I've heard from people around the team, from Ben Johnson, is that they've been better in terms of getting lined up, not getting the false starts. The operation is a lot better right now, and I think you can see that. It's OTAs. They're mixing in guys. There's guys that are, veterans that are kind of taking it easy. Someone like Jonah Jackson and Jedrick Wills, have been there, but not always participated. And that's nothing to worry about. Now, when you hear what Ben Johnson said about Kyler Gordon, that's a little alarming to me. And I think a mixture of it was a feisty Ben Johnson that day. That was the same day as the cell phone ringing in the presser, which was not mine. So yeah, I don't ever want to
set
take
the
that
record
risk.
straight. It was not Zach Pearson's cell phone.
Yes, not me. But yeah, I think part of it was he was a little feisty, but I also think part of it's just him trying to communicate through the media. Like, you got to be available. Like, it was disappointing last year that Kyler Gordon couldn't get out there. And when he got out there late in the season, he wasn't as effective as you needed him to be. You paid him to be the highest nickel corner in the league. When you paid him, he's got to play to that standard. And, it's tough. It's tough to rehab in the winter like he was doing, as the season was going on and getting loose and everything. But at the same time, now you see another soft tissue injury and you're like, what's going on? So that's probably the one I'd be more concerned about, just in terms of potentially lingering into the offseason. And, last year we saw just an injury in training camp early on, keep him out essentially months, and he re-aggravated it. So it's just not a good history there with him. With Rome, I thought the comment of, kind of his new normal was eye-opening. But I also think that is normal coming off of an injury like that. Like you're going to have to kind of not relearn everything, but test your limitations with that foot and understand what you can do now, what you can't do. Doesn't mean you can't be stronger, but he might have to, he might feel something on a different break or something like that. So we'll see. But from what I've seen from Rome, I mean, he looks like he's healthy and he looks normal out there.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Yeah, I got high hopes for Rome Odunze this season. I really
everyone
believe.
should.
And yeah, it's time for him to deliver on those things. The injuries set him back. So I mean, I'm expecting big things from him. I think he's going to work through that injury. It's good to hear that, that he's looking good out there. And I mean, I think it's something that he'll be able to work through. The Kyler Gordon thing, like you said, that's very just super concerning when the coach is already losing trust and faith in the guy and saying it publicly. And then the soft tissue issues were what killed him last year. And now you're dealing with it again this year. And that's it's unfortunate because when Kyler Gordon's on the field, this defense is a lot better. That's just the reality.
100%. I mean, he's a guy that I think, you watch what they did with CJ Gardner-Johnson last year. And, I think they're going to get the personnel in this year to run a lot more dime. And I think you could use Gordon if he's healthy slot. You can use him as a blitzer. You can kind of use him as like kind of a rover corner. You can maybe back him up as a safety at times. And what I've seen from this regime and with Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen is, it should be true for everyone is the best ability is availability. Like you have to be available. They want to have guys they can interchange. That's why they drafted another defensive back. That's why they signed a couple defensive backs this year. And I think when you look at what, guys that left got both safeties and defensive backs, it just kind of told you what the league thought about them. And it told you that the Bears are looking for more versatile guys, more guys to fit their system. Kyler Gordon was not a guy that was drafted when, Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson were here. Same with Rome Odunze. He wasn't drafted with this regime. He was drafted by Ryan Poles. Into the Rome Odunze aspect, you spent a top 10 pick on him. You got to play like a top 10 wide receiver. And I think back to that draft, Brock Bowers goes right after him. I'm curious if Ben Johnson was here, does he push for Brock Bowers instead of Rome Odunze? That's hindsight now, but
he probably would have. That's a very good point, Zach. He probably would have.
I think so too. I think just the way they used Colston Loveland last year, that tells me Ben Johnson's thinking Brock Bowers is a total mismatch. But he's not on the Bears. Rome Odunze is. So Rome Odunze, you got to be a top 10 guy, in my opinion. You got to have a big year, especially with DJ Moore now gone.
Oh. Kyle, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, and I know it's very early, just a small sample size of the changes to come, but have you noticed the difference in the relationship between Ben Johnson and his now offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, versus Declan Doyle, who was probably trying to learn as much as he could from Ben Johnson, where Taylor has obviously been there, done that. He's been a play caller. Is there a difference between him and Ben, Press Taylor and Ben, and then Press Taylor and Caleb? Is there a little more interaction there?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not from what I've seen on the field yet. I think training camp will probably show us more of that, like maybe getting Press a little bit more involved with running drills and running the offense on his own. In OTAs and probably I'm going to guess the next 3 days here in minicamp, it's pretty much been essentially getting the guys, well-rounded and getting into like in and out of the huddle, things like that, more operational stuff. I imagine if I had to say, I think Press will be a little bit, last year it was more questions being asked by Declan Doyle and trying, he's a young offensive mind. Press Taylor is a good offensive mind too. I imagine Press Taylor will be a little different. I don't know if it'll be more of the question type different, but I would probably bet that Ben will let him run a little bit more stuff in terms of the drills and kind of learn under him because, you're going to look at Declan Doyle, success or failure. That's the Ben Johnson coaching career. That's the start of it right there. That's the first guy to go out. And now Press Taylor is the next guy. A guy I actually think that I really like watching is JT Barrett in terms of communicating with the quarterback. And I like it because he's a younger guy, played at a high level college, didn't have success in the NFL, but he knows what it takes to be a quarterback in high level situations, playing some of the biggest games in college football, things like that. He can kind of relate to Caleb a little more. So yeah, I'd be curious to see that relationship too. But something I'll keep an eye on the Press Taylor thing, and maybe I can have a better answer next time we're together.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zach, it seems like 2025 was almost a lost season for Jaylon Johnson. Obviously, he was injured for most of the season. When he did come back, it didn't really look like he was 100%. Do you think that, first of all, how has he looked at OTAs? And second of all, do you think that it was more of injuries late in the season last year and him just trying to get back to full strength? Or do you think that maybe there's an adjustment period trying to get used to Dennis Allen's scheme?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything at OTAs that's been a concern with Jaylon. I think he's out there going full go at as full as you can in this point in the offseason. Obviously, they're not hitting or anything like that. So yeah, but last year that was just tough. Just going down and then coming back and having to rehab. And like I said with Gordon, I mean, it's not easy in this freezing cold weather. Your hamstrings and things get tight. I think part of it might have been a little bit of getting adjusted to Dennis Allen's defense in terms of the scheme and the zone and the man-to-man and the concepts and what they want to run. But yeah, watching him last year struggle was not fun. Just and it kind of sucked because you're sitting here, you're like, you just tell this guy's just not healthy, but he's one of their best defensive players out there when he is healthy, and you almost kind of have to have him out there. So I think this year will be better for him. Like again, I haven't seen anything in OTAs that looks like he's slowing down or anything. And of course, training camp will tell us more, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to go up against Luther Burden and Rome Odunze in camp. And I think that's definitely going to help him kind of get back more up to speed.
Hell yeah. They definitely need him. They definitely need him at full go, which he clearly wasn't last year.
Yeah.
My question, Zach, I'm just curious which rookie is standing out to you the most at OTAs? I'd be curious to hear what your answer is on that. Offense, defense, whatever.
Yeah. Looking at it, let's see. Logan Jones is kind of tough to
in OTAs, you're not doing anything for the offensive line.
No pads. You're not really hitting. So I'll kind of rule him out. Kind of the same. I think Jordan Vandenberg, he kind of looks the part though. Like he's a big human being. Like he looks like a guy that could just sit there in the middle and kind of fill things up, and maybe a little bit more, athletic than Andrew Billings or someone was in that spot. This might be an obvious. I think Dylan Thieneman has looked good. He made a really good play on a ball. The first OTA practice we were out there, forgot he was running with the second team. I forgot who was intended for. It might have been Jade Walker, and he kind of was on him, covering him in the break. Kind of had his hand on him a little bit, and then kind of turned around and went for the ball, and probably should have picked it. He did some push-ups after. I haven't seen him get burned in coverage. I think the coverage skills and the instincts are good. He had a mistake in rookie minicamp, but he explained it like he's been playing football for 100 years. Like it was really impressive for a rookie. So I'll say Dylan Thieneman. I know it's kind of a bland answer.
No, that's good though, because he's your one guy that is gonna be started.
Yes,
right. So you need him to be that guy.
Xavier Thomas had a big play when we were out there. Nice double move, got open. I think he's going to be more of an offensive impact than we originally thought, myself included. I thought it'd be more special teams for him, but I think he could have a big impact in this offense.
Well, that's good to hear too.
I would ask, because we're going to talk about the secondary a little bit later on in the show. Safety depth behind Bryant and Thieneman. What are your thoughts? What do you see? What do you like? Is there anything you like, or is it as thin as we imagine?
Yeah, it's thin. I will say, Elijah Hicks has a lot of experience. It's not a guy that if he comes in, you're like, all right, wow, this is awful. It's not a guy that's, great, but I think he's good enough that he can essentially stand in and be a replacement if needed at times. Cam Lewis, I believe, is the guy they signed out of Buffalo that can a little versatile. But yeah, after that, it's pretty thin. So I'm curious how they're going to do this with Elijah Hicks on special teams too, because he's a special teams guy. But again, if you keep 4 safeties, maybe 5, the depth there behind the 2 starters isn't great. It's not a good thing right now.
That is my fear. Fear.
Zach, I know you've attended OTAs a few times for Chicago Bears, and I'm curious from last year, the contrast from last year to this year, is it impressionable already, noticeably impressionable on you, the upgrade they've made at speed on the defensive side of football?
Yeah, I think overall, like looking at just everything out there, to me, it's not and I covered the 2018 team, and we went to 2019, and there was that storyline with the kicker and OTAs and rookie mini camp, and there was a lot of kind of distractions. And I don't want to say like they felt like they were like supposed to be handed another division title, but you kind of felt like, all right, they were kind of, feeling themselves in a good way. I think overall, Ben Johnson's put into him, you're restarting. Nothing's given in this league. The expectations. You know how hard this is. The OTA practices, the mini camp, the training camps are from last year. I kind of feel like they have that mentality in terms of like the speed on defense. Yes, I think it's a much faster defense. I think just Devin Bush being out there in general, it just looks faster. The defensive backs look, with Jaylon being 100%, he looks faster. Maybe not 100%, but he looks faster. Coby Bryant's kind of flying around out there. Other guys, Malik Muhammad, who's been out there a little bit. Tyreek Stevenson's been out there. Terrell Smith. Yeah, kind of guys like that. I think it's overall the scheme and the fit is more what Dennis Allen wants. And what I found interesting, and now it's been a week, they did a 2-minute drill, 11 on 11. I believe it was like 1 minute left. They're down 4, ball thrown 40. And the defense for about 3 plays came out in dime looks, which I thought was very, very interesting, and probably going to see a little bit more of that. Maybe that was specific to that situation, being the 2-minute drill. But I'd be kind of keeping an eye out on that dime look for Dennis Allen.
Was that just Devin Bush and then your six backs?
I believe it was
the personnel on that.
Yeah, I believe it was Devin Bush. It was Thieneman. It was Bryant, Jaylon. I don't know who was in the slot because obviously
Tyler's out.
Yeah. Stevenson. I want to say it was Cam Lewis.
Okay.
It might have been Elijah Hicks. I'd have to go back and look.
Well, that's still interesting. Just in general,
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Like you're gonna need. I mean, just in general, in the NFC North, you're getting a lot of high-powered pass offenses. You're gonna need looks like that to throw at them defensively. So it's good that they're trying that out. You just made me think of something. So I just want to ask this. I saw there was a fight between a couple of rookies at OTAs. I saw it reported, but I'm just curious. That's not really my question though. My question is like, what kind of attitude is this team coming out with? Is there a lot of shit talking? Is there somebody that's kind of standing out as taking over as the leadership? Who are the dogs out there right now that you're seeing? Is anybody standing out in that way, or is it more kind of chill?
It's more chill right now.
Okay.
I think, again, it's the OTAs more about the operation. I think we might get a little more offense versus defense competition these next 3 days.
Yeah.
This was the time last year where, it's more of when they close it out, the Darnell Wrights catching passes or doing defensive tackles against offensive linemen, one-on-one pass routes, stuff like that, which gets very competitive. Training camp is probably going to be better for that in terms of the one-on-one stuff. And also, again, too, when you see these guys, you see the reports, who's running with what teams, they do alternate a lot of guys in and out too. Like you'll see Thieneman with the 1s, you'll see him with the 2s, you'll see, wide receivers, Jade Walker and Scotty Miller kind of split time with the 1s, the 2s, the 3. It's just kind of all essentially mixing it into.
Kyle, I know you've got something locked and loaded, but real quick, Swaggy's got a really good question here. Zach, has Bush been wearing the green dot?
Good question. I have not seen it. I will keep attention on that. I'm trying to remember. God, I hate that they do it. It's like a week apart for each one, and then the next time it's like another week. Yeah. He might have been. I believe he was, but don't fully quote me on that. I've seen DeMarco Jackson out there a lot as well. We also have to remember TJ Edwards was not there the first week. He just got back.
He's been the green dot when he's been on the field for them. Yeah.
Yep. And he just got back this second week. So, and he wasn't even full when he was out there. He was doing very limited team stuff too. So I think we might get a better idea this week and into training camp, but I'm just trying to remember honestly. Yeah, I don't remember, honestly.
Well, I'm glad that Swag, you brought up the linebacker room, because somebody who hasn't really been talked about since the Bears drafted him is 5th round pick Keyshawn Elliott. It's a guy who Sean and I liked a lot. I think he probably could have gone higher in the 5th round. Is there anything you've noticed about him, man? Any physical attributes, any speed,
Fast.
strength, or do you think that there's going to be a role for him in 2026, or do you think this is going to be a kind of a special teams year for him?
Fast, very smart, good instincts, and I think he wants to learn and understands. I'm coming into a loaded linebacker room. I'm probably going to have to earn my spot on special teams. And I think he said that right when he was drafted. So I think 2026 will be, it's not going to be a redshirt year by any means, because I think when you look back at Ruben Hippolyte last year, it was a little disappointing in that first year. I think Elliott will be primarily special teams, probably get some looks in maybe some packages. I don't know, a lot. But yeah, I think it'll be primarily special teams to start, work your way up. But that's not a bad thing either. So, but yeah, I would say probably the thing that stands out to me is the speed so far.
Flex asks, how does Mr. Walker look out there?
Yeah, that wide receiver, 3-4 is going to be interesting. I think right now they're probably giving the upper hand to Scotty Miller, I'd say, just judging by reps and who's getting more, time with who. But it is OTAs. Jade's made a couple plays. Nothing that, we saw last year. He was kind of just all over the field on OTAs and mini camp and training camp. I do think he looks better than he was last year, kind of coming into these camps. But, yeah, nothing that's been anything I can note that stood out, either good or bad, honestly.
So Scotty Miller is getting those reps right now in these practices, the bulk of them.
They're essentially both with the second team, but when they put a couple in with the third team, it's been more of Scotty. I don't know if that's been the whole thing the whole week, because we're only there for an hour, so it could be different. Yeah. But from what I've seen, I'd probably lean towards Scotty getting more. But it's not like Scotty's getting 20 and Jade is getting 4 or 5. It's probably very marginal, very, very thin.
Has Khalif Raymond been getting wide receiver reps at all, or is he just on special?
Khalif Raymond has, he's been out there. Mostly the second team, I'd say. Yeah, third. Xavier Thomas has gotten a couple of reps with the first. But again, they're switching guys in and out all the time too, trying to because essentially it's they want to get you accustomed to Caleb's cadence, the snap count, how he operates. They want to get you accustomed with Tyson Bagent. So it kind of just mixes guys in and out.
With what you've seen from all three of those guys we just discussed, from your eye test, who would you think would be the guy that you would want in that role if you were making that call? Just with this very limited sample size, obviously.
Right now, I would probably lean Scotty Miller or Raymond, just because of the experience, the veteran. Raymond has some experience in Ben Johnson's system too. I'd probably lean one of those guys. Honestly, if we're looking at wide receiver 3, I think Colson Loveland's going to end up being a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they're going to use a lot of that 13 personnel. Just being out there, I think that's going to be a big factor for them.
And as you say that, I brought this up last week. I think it was last Wednesday. We were talking about using more 13 personnel. When you have that one wide receiver, whether it's Burden or Odunze, could you see Xavier Thomas playing in the backfield as a running back, coming out, maybe being an extra receiver in that 13 package, running curl routes, getting up the boundary, anything like that?
I could see it. I haven't seen it yet so far. I haven't seen anything with him in the backfield. But that's not to say they haven't done anything like that. Just when we've been out there, I haven't seen anything like that. Sam Roush is a big guy. That dude is a big guy. And they've lined him up at wide receiver. They motion him in, things like that. I'm very, very curious to see how many reps he gets and how many targets he gets this year. Because looking back last year, they used 3 tight ends quite a bit. Or when one was hurt, they put in the other one. So yeah, I'm excited for him too. Any
reps with Roush at fullback?
No, not that I've seen.
Okay.
Not yet.
And J2K asks, has anyone stood out in that RB room outside of Swift and Manungai? Is there anyone a clear number 3, or is that just kind of meh?
That's kind of mad right now. Roshan's still here, Britton Brown, guys like that, but still kind of met right now.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
What do you think?
How? Go ahead,
in
Brent.
between the 7-on-7s, the 7-on-9s, the 11-on-11s? What do you think's been the better unit, offense or defense?
Offense, I'd say. Yeah, I think offense. I think just because of that first practice, when you saw a couple of those big plays, I'd give it to the offense. Defense was better the second day we were out there, but it wasn't like defense was fully out dominating or anything like that. But yeah, I'm ready for that for training camp and see how when it gets really intense. And
these types of practices tend to favor the offense, anyways.
it should favor the offense. The ball should not hit the ground at 7-on-7. That's kind of my general rule.
Yeah. And basically, the operation looks a lot better than last year, and it looks a little bit more smoother. Flex asks, "What's Ben's attitude at practice? Is it the Nazi leader holding it down, or
we haven't really seen him yell yet or anything like that? It's been pretty calm from what I've seen. Last year we saw, I can't remember if it was OTAs or early training camp or both.
It was both, the operations were so
the operation was bad. I think he might have got on someone one time for a false start. Cole
Komet, I think.
Yeah, that was the big one last year. Yeah. Ben's also, he could be calm and be pretty fiery inside too. So it's kind of sometimes when he is calm, you're kind of wondering like, is there something going on the inside? Like what's kind of going on there? But I think honestly, like the team obviously feeds off of him. And I think going back to what I said, like, I think he's instilled to them, like, you're not going to be handed this division again. Like, this is going to be a tougher division to win this year. Probably be a little bit of a tougher NFC. The Rams got better. Who knows what the Lions are going to be? I think the Vikings are intriguing just because it's all going to depend on Kyler Murray. Like, if he's good, the Vikings are going to be good. If he's not good, I don't think they're going to be good. I think they're kind of going into this. It's a fresh start. We have to start over. And I think you can kind of see that with them too.
Well, I know, Zach, that you have to get out of here because you have to go get your wife.
Yeah.
But before you do, I have a question for you, and it's going to lead us into, because I want to hear what these guys have to say too. This has happened 5 times in NFL history. We're going to throw it up here. There's been 3 1,000-yard receiving pass catchers on the same team. Only one time has there been a tight end involved. That was back in 1980. Dan Fouts is a quarterback. So you have 3 Hall of Famers, 4 teams that made the playoffs. Even though Atlanta didn't, they were still 10-6 that year. Or no, excuse me, it was Washington who did it, and they were 10-6 that year. Atlanta did make the playoffs. The only Super Bowl representative here was the 2008 Cardinals. Now, 11 teams have had 3 900-yard pass catchers. 7 of those 11 were tight ends. I ask you, do you think the Bears this year have a chance with this offense, everyone stays healthy, obviously, to join this elite list? Or do you think maybe the 3 900-yard pass catcher list still elusive because there's only 11 that have done it in NFL history? Which one do you think early on is a little bit more within the realm of possibility?
I would say the 3 900. I think the 3 900. If that happens, though, I mean, that's still going to be, I'm guessing, Caleb will probably hit the 4,000 or come close to the 4,000.
Yeah, you're right at 3,000 right there with those 3, yeah.
And you gotta assume Cole Kmet will probably have at least 200, 250 minimum. A couple of the running backs.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift gonna have 350.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Probably between Miller, Walker,
Roush,
Raymond, Roush. You probably get a couple, 100, 200, 300 maybe. Yeah. So I think it'll be in the 900. It's probably more realistic if everyone stays healthy.
If everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, and I think the big one will probably be Rome, because I think Luther Burden is ready to take off. I think Colston Loveland is going to be, he's going to be, if not already a top 10 tight end, he's going to be solidify himself with the elite. I'd probably say 900 is probably more doable in my eyes.
That's fair. Hey, I really appreciate you jumping on, giving us some insight on OTAs. We'll hit you back up as we get a little bit closer to training camp and get your thoughts as we approach the season, man.
Can I ask Zach if he has time for one more question?
Yeah. I'm good.
Difference between Caleb Williams this year on the field with his team in terms of leadership versus last year. What are you seeing?
Looks a lot more comfortable. Looks more comfortable to point things out, I'd say. I think he talked about on the Kelsey Brothers podcast where he said this year just kind of feels more, not easier, but more comfortable for him. And he said last year it took him till game 3, I think, to get on the same page with Ben. I think they're on the same page already. I think that's important. And in terms of leadership, I think what he did last year, I think his teammates saw what he could do. Yeah, and you could hear it in the meeting when they talk. You ask a question about Caleb, it's the same thing. We just knew we were in games. We like how he handles the huddle, things like that. So I think there's definitely an improvement. But I mean, I think he's going to be the leader that everyone thinks or hopes he's going to be.
Oh yeah,
I think he already is.
Zach, I appreciate you. Thanks for giving us your time, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. It's always fun talking to you, man. Appreciate the work you do. Everybody, if you don't follow Zach Pearson, man. Zach, you want to tell everybody where you're at one more time just before you get out of here, dude?
Yeah, I'm at Zach Pearson, Zach_Pearson on X Twitter. Bear Report is on Twitter at just Bear Report. And then bearreport.com, and we'll have plenty of stuff from these next 3 days, and then after that, late July until we get back out there. So
can't wait.
Yeah.
Zach, do you go to all the home games?
Yeah, I go to all the home games. 60% of the road games. Like some of them I couldn't go last year.
We'll be at the home opener for Minnesota, man. If you're not busy, if you're not like in the locker room or whatever, you got a couple minutes to spare. We'd love to meet up with you, man. Get to chat with you for a little bit.
Yeah, shoot me a message before the game. I get there early, and I stay pretty late, so. For
Fantastic.
sure.
We'll definitely hit you up.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Take it easy, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Good night, Zach.
See ya.
Always a pleasure. Hell yeah. So I posed the same question to you guys, man. I know it's early, and I'm not going to put a gun to your head, but do you guys believe there's a chance that this could happen if everyone stays healthy this year? I mean, when you look at this list, only 2 of these teams had 100-yard rushers on it, and that was
1,000-yard rushers.
Or 1,000-yard rushers. Excuse me. That was Edgerrin James, and
that 04 Indianapolis offense was
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Jamal Williams was the running back for that Atlanta team, right?
No, it was Craig. Actually, that was the 1,000-yard rusher. It was Craig Ironhead Hayward.
Oh, really?
My concern with looking at these numbers here for the Bears potential is Stokely on that 04 Colts team. He's the only one who had less than 70 receptions in order to get 1,000 yards. I don't know that I don't think 3 players on this football team are going to have 70 plus receptions.
You don't think that's you don't think so? Do you think it's possible that they can join those 3 900-yard?
Yeah,
like Zach said.
I do, yeah, because Luther Burden and Colston Lumber are both guys they're going to create with the ball. So I think the yardage will come more easily than the receptions themselves for these guys. I think especially a guy like Luther Burden, but if you look at the target share last year, when you're comparing the receptions of the 3 guys we're talking about on this team, there's just so many more mouths that they were in the 50s, low 60s in their receptions. It's a tough number to achieve 1,000 yards when you're not getting 70 receptions.
Well, if you start to account for Caleb increasing his efficiency, those numbers automatically go up too. That's something to consider too. If his completion percentage is at 58, then I know targets turn into receptions if that's completion percentage at 63, 64.
And I know Zach was given a minimum out there, but Cole Kmet's going to have far more than 200. Cole Kmet's going to have 400 or 500 yards at least, I think, in this offense.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Kyle.
I just think it's kind of a double-edged sword in the conversation because now with 17 game schedule, it should be easier to get 3,000-yard receivers. But at the same time, the odds that 3 guys in the same team play all 17 games for an entire season has become much more rare.
Especially on this team.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy, Rome Odunze, who missed a big chunk last season with that foot injury. Obviously, Luther Burden missed a big chunk of training camp. Colston Loveland missed a big chunk of training camp in the first few games. Colston Loveland left the playoff game. It's just nowadays, man, with these guys so big, strong, fast, they hit each other so hard, just keeping all three of those guys healthy for an entire season is going to be really, really tough to do. And that's the same conversation we had, guys, when we were talking about trading DJ Moore. It's fine if you want to get rid of the $110 million contract, but you better have a backup plan because keeping your 3 stars healthy for an entire season. I mean, who's the last team to do it? Who's the last team to do it? You just don't see it anymore.
I will say, Sean,
almost always somebody misses time, and it's probably going to happen. The odds are that
it hasn't happened since 08.
One of these guys is probably going to miss sometime.
Between Komet and I do believe Roush is going to make an impact this season as a receiver, not super early in the season because he's going to be doing a lot of playing left tackle squared, but the supporting cast on this Bears team, outside of those 3 players, I think we can all agree is better than any of the names on that list there, right?
Yeah,
I don't know about that. Like I just said, that Indianapolis offense,
the Indianapolis team,
and that Chargers offense was the Eric Coryell offense. That was an insane
outside of Harrison Wayne and Stokely, because I think he's Dallas Clark's gone from this team.
No, he's not.
I think Dallas Clark was still on this team.
Still on that team, yes.
Was he?
And I'll add to that 04 Indy
yes,
team.
He was. He played until like 2008 or 9.
Yeah, he was on the Super Bowl team that beat the Bears.
Yeah, he was.
06.
And I'll tell you this right now, they added that Indy team. Edgerrin James had 15.
Edgerrin James was a fucking phenomenal runner. That offense was just insane.
I mean, Craig Ironhead Hayward had like 1,077 rushing yards.
Sean, another thing you need to consider when you're having this conversation, especially when you talk about the 80 team, the 89 team, the 95 team, is these, when these contracts weren't so massive, I think these guys were much more likely to play through some minor injuries. Nowadays, man, with these guys getting paid 150, 160,
teams are willing to shut them down.
Yeah, they're like, hey, man, if you miss a week, but it means you don't hurt that high ankle sprain any more than you already have. If we have to hold you out an extra week longer than we normally would, just to make sure you're 100%, you're comfortable. I just think teams are much more likely to do that nowadays. So it's going to be, I don't know, man. We talked about this. Just the fact that the Bears offensive line stayed healthy for the majority of the season last year, it wasn't a miracle. So I don't think the Bears have as many injuries as they did last year, because that was just the same as the Cubs. Like, it was just like an astronomical.
We forgot to ask.
At the same time, man, I think they're probably going to deal with some nagging injuries here and there at some point. That's probably going to
Zach, who was playing the bulk of center with the ones.
He basically said it doesn't matter. I mean, and OTAs are just not really doing much offensive line wise. So there was some. I mean, there's this comment here from J2K about can't run heavy 12 and 13 personnel. So many yards receiving. And then Kyle mentioned Colston Loveland, and I just want to mention this. I think this is worth saying in regards to this conversation. Colston Loveland did not have over 35 yards receiving in any game until week 8. Colston Loveland started very slow. You are not going to see that this year if he has his health, right? He came in injured, and then he had to learn the playbook. Ben made him earn it. You can have this when your tight end is Colston Loveland and is basically a receiver in a tight end's body in this Ben Johnson offense. And that's one thing I will say. Colston Loveland with Rome and Luther, you could see these guys producing a lot of receiving yards, even in that 12 and 13 personnel.
I will say this too, for Colston Loveland to be an anomaly here, if you go back to even the list with I should have put the list together for that so we can look at it. There was, Jason Witten, Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez. I mean, Hall of Fame tight ends on this list. They still weren't the leading receiver on their respective team, even though they hit that 900-yard mark. And this goes back to last week when we were trying to decipher, hey, is he going to be the leader? Is he going to be the leader? When you start, even Kellen Winslow wasn't the leader. He was still a 1,000-yard pass catcher. So when you put all this together, you guys still think that Colston Loveland will lead the team in receiving yards?
No. It's going to be Luther Burden.
It's a function of the position for sure. I mean, the tight end.
I think Loveland will.
The tight end, but again, Loveland is kind of a unicorn at that position in this offense, in my mind, and I do think that he can establish himself as the leading receiver on this team. I think he is the most talented receiver on this team. He's the most short-handed. I think he's the most short-handed receiver on this team. This guy does not drop anything. I mean, he had a couple big drops toward the end of the season, but up until that point, he was basically perfect in terms of his catch rate.
Listen,
And he's really talented after the catch, guys. He's a very physical.
I'm still going to go with
but it's just easier for receivers to find yards than it is tight ends. I mean, listen, I wouldn't surprise
where
me.
They play on the field, yeah, but Loveland will get outside a lot.
Wouldn't surprise me if Colston Loveland has the most targets, but at the end of the day, if Luther Burden has 3 70-yard touchdowns this year, which he's more than capable of doing, and Loveland probably will not have one, his longest touchdown will probably be 30, 40, 50 yards. Just those 3 touchdowns right there is tough for Loveland to make up those yards. And Loveland's going to be a third down machine. He's going to get a lot of targets. But you guys, I mean, Luther Burden's just he looks like he's going to be a yak machine. Look at all the teams in history with great tight ends. Look at Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce had a season, I think, with 1,400 yards, and Tyreek Hill still beat him. I mean, it's just easier for receivers to get yards than it is tight ends. That's just not their role is not to be down 50 yards downfield all the time. Luther Burden can do that. He can absolutely.
But if you look at the target share,
Luther Burden's also faster than Loveland. Not saying Loveland's not fast because he's a hell of an athlete for a tight end, but
fast for his size.
If you get Luther Burden a screen pass and you get enough blockers in front of him, he's taking that to the house.
We're all aware of that. It's just Colston is the guy that Caleb trusts, I think, in those.
Well, and
but that trust between him and Luther Burden will grow as well.
If you're putting Colston Loveland on a scale for the second half of the season, he was better than Tyler Warren. He was the best player at the position in the league. If you're doing that, if Colston Loveland kicks off next year doing that the way he finished last, his target share was ridiculous. His snap share,
you got to adjust the variables. You have to adjust the variables. Like you're talking about when Rome Odunze was out, so Rome Odunze's not getting targets. You're talking about Luther Burden has barely learned the offense. He's not
Rome Odunze came back when Loveland's snaps increased.
That's boosting Loveland's snap. If they're all on the field healthy, he's not going to get 13 targets a game. He may have a game with 13 targets, but he's not going to get 13 targets a game.
Yeah, and when you say compare all the variables, when you talk to Tyler Warren was having an all-pro season. He was down to a guy bagging groceries, throwing him the football. So keep everything in perspective. I mean, talent's talent, and there's a lot of talented tight ends in this league right now. And to Dustin's point,
do you think that changed?
Colston Loveland is very, very talented. I think Luther Burden is by far the most talented pass catcher.
I think the Bears have the luxury.
It's a great problem to have.
It's not a guy bagging groceries.
We're having this conversation is because the Bears have the luxury of this. That they have.
It's not a guy bagging groceries, but I'd rather play for Caleb Williams than Daniel Jones next season.
And Daniel Jones was giving him an all-pro season.
I think it's still a rough situation.
Let's not get into that.
It's all subjective.
To answer your question, Sean,
it always has to be a comparison. It's not a comparison. As I said, the talent pool for the tight ends in the NFL in 2026 is by far surpassing what we've seen in a long time since there was Tony Gonzalez and Tony
really
Gates.
So I'm saying, for sure. I think right now, guys, unfortunately, I'm saying I think Colston Loveland leads this team in receiving statistics.
And to answer your overall question, Sean, I think you threw out in the text, our group chat, the over-unders for everybody receiving. It was like 750. What was the numbers again? You got it from me?
I have it right here.
775.
Rome Odunze 775. Luther Burden 750 and Colston Loveland 750.
I think those are all easy fucking overs. I'll say that.
See if you can parlay that with $100. You're going to be real happy.
The second you parlay that is the second you've doomed one of them to a broken ankle. Listen, it's like, for instance, with the Tyler Warren conversation, I agree with you, Sean. There's no point comparing them because I like them both and they both have particular skill sets. And I think they both fit very well in the offense that both coaches are running. But I mean, Tyler Warren, you just lost what? 200 targets from Michael Pittman. Tyler Warren, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Tyler Warren finishes the season with the most yards of any tight end. And not because he's better than Colston Loveland. It's just all about your situation. It's all situational, man. It's nothing. It doesn't mean that one of them's better than the other one. But I just think if you look back, if you play the odds and you look back in the history of football, teams that have really good receivers and good tight ends in the same team, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, the best receiver on the team always finishes with more yards than their tight end. It's just how it is, guys. Go look at it. Go find me 5 examples where a tight end, a damn good tight end, you're talking about the best of the best, Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, have finished with more receiving yards than the number one receiver. Outside of the times where it's like Travis Kelce after they traded Tyreek Hill and their receiving
core was a pile of dog shit. If you're going to talk about variables, though, I mean, look at Ben Johnson and the way he designs this offense. The league going to more 12 and 13 personnel than they were at the time.
Colston Loveland was the team's leading receiver as a rookie.
already the team's
You
leading
guys, we're here right
receiver.
now. I said this on last Wednesday show with the chat and with Jason and Sean. We're here right now, guys. We can all pick. It's just, Justin's got Loveland getting the most yards. Brandon, I'm assuming you got Loveland getting the most yards.
Yeah,
Sean,
he was
Sean,
the
I got
he was the
Burden.
team's
We can
leader
remember this.
last
It's all
year. He
recorded
was a
now. We'll
rookie.
remember it. Sean, who do you got?
He already said Burden.
I got Luther Burden.
Yeah, and I think who's going to finish with the least amount of yards and disappoint Bears fans once again and finish in third is the number 9 pick, Rome Odunze.
Let's talk about Rome, because
do you
Flex
guys-
is
hold
here
on, real
saying
quick,
he's already
real quick.
making excuses.
Who
He's
do
not making excuses. Don't
Who
interpret
do you guys
it that
think
way.
the
That's not
best
what it is.
the best player is of the pass catchers on this football team?
The guy they would be really hard for me to choose between Burden.
That's
and
really
Burden.
tough, man.
It would be
because
really
Who
hard.
has
for me to choose.
Too
all
small of a
pro
sample-
potential?
Way too small of a sample.
I think
size.
Luther Burden and Colston Loveland.
Yeah,
I think they both have very unique skill sets.
And I think
Yeah,
it also
I'm not
depends.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, Sean. I'm not like I'm not trying to pitch a narrative.
think
but
it also
I think
depends
they
it's a
on.
both
tough
have-
question.
They're
I think
very
tough
unique. They're both very unique in what they do. He's Colston Loveland's a hybrid wide receiver, tight end / third down machine. Luther Burden's quick step off the line, burst, yak. I mean, it's a great problem to have, and the Bears haven't had it since Brandon Marshall and Alshon
That it
Jeffrey.
is.
So it's a wonderful thing to go into the season and say, hey, the fact that we can have a conversation that we could possibly have 3 1,000-yard pass catchers on a Chicago Bears football team is fucking nuts.
And I honestly believe that if you're
It's
picking
pretty awesome.
two, and I believe if you're picking two, they're going to extend it here. It's going to be Ben Johnson's guys, the guys he drafted.
Oh, 100%.
It's probably going to end up being Luther Burden, Colston Loveland. So guys,
100%.
by default, if Caleb Williams is the best quarterback the Bears have ever had, you're probably looking at the two most prolific pass catchers in Bears history. By the time it's all said and done, Colston Loveland and Luther Burden will probably finish as their number 1 and number 2 pass catchers in the history of the Chicago Bears organization. I don't think Rome Odunze is going to be in that conversation. That's just me personally.
We'll get into Rome. Let me ask you this question. All of you guys. There's a part of me that feels this way, so I just want to ask what you guys think. Do you think Luther Burden would be better served being put in the slot rather than being on the outside?
I think he would be damn good in the slot, but I think he should be used all over. I think you guys, when that, I know it's lofty expectations, but when that NFL scout made that comparison that said if this guy reaches the ceiling, you could talk about Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown moved all over the place, right? But
Antonio Brown played the majority of his snaps out of the slot.
Yes, he was damn good in the slot, but he could play outside too. I think they
should.
He
did both. He moved towards the outside more so as I'm just saying. I think if to hit what you were talking about with Luther Burden, I think he needs to be working the middle of the field.
I think
he will.
I think Luther Burden is Ben Johnson's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has put up 1,400 yards a season with Ben Johnson. I think that's what you're going to be looking at. But he also lines up outside and runs those cross routes back to the middle of the field. He lines up all over, and
he does most of his work in the middle of the field.
He does. Yeah, he does. He finds the soft spot in the zone.
Sure, does Amon-Ra St. Brown.
But I also don't want to take. I also don't want to take him out of lining up on the boundary and being able to use that quick step off the line and be able to get open down the sideline by burning a defensive back, which I think Luther Burden can do as well.
I think that you're also, in regards to as Luther should play inside the majority of the snap. That's what I believe. But I think it would be stupid of Ben Johnson with now that you have 2 more tight ends. You're going to play in this 13-man personnel.
Play the slot a lot.
Loveland needs to be outside against a corner. Be in the slot, I want to see that a lot. I want to see he played a decent amount of snaps last year outside, and he was really
and moving him out to the slot.
I want to see him outside.
Makes a lot of sense. I agree with Kyle on that. In the slot makes a lot of sense, and that's where you saw him most if he lined up outside was in that slot position. And but put him on the outside in the red zone makes sense, Brandon.
Yeah, that's where he caught those 2-point conversions, where he caught those touchdowns on the end. Yeah,
in the red zone that makes sense. He doesn't have the speed to go.
I want to see Colston Loveland against a corner. That is just a nightmare for any defense.
Dante,
I agree with Sean, man. I think when you watch the Detroit Lions, you see Amon-Ra St. Brown catch a lot of screen passes or slant routes, and there's a lot of blockers set up in front of him, and he just makes a lot of nothing. Yeah. And I think Luther Burden's he has that kind of same skill set, man. He just finds open space, and I think that's probably what he's going to end up doing. Dustin, what exactly you want to talk about with Rome Odunze, man?
So hold on, really quick. Last year, Colston Loveland, 58 passes for 713 yards in the regular season. He averaged 2.9 yards per route from the slot, the most for a rookie tight end since 2016. He averaged 12.3 yards per catch out of the slot and 6 touchdowns last year. So to say maybe you can use him on the boundary, but those are pretty impressive numbers coming out of the slot, I do have to say.
Yeah, no, and Dustin made a good point. I think when you're in the red zone, when you remember the play where they did, they ran the strong package or heavy package, and Colson Loveland split outside, and they had a corner on him on that 2-point conversion. I mean, that's a gimme. That's a layup. If Colson Loveland is lined up from a corner on inside the 10-yard line, it's a layup.
Yeah, throw it up to him. Just throw it up.
Well, and if you remember Tom Brady's interview when he first retired and he started working with ESPN and ABC and NBC, one of the interviews he talked about was how much easier it is to get the ball to guys like Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman because the route tree is so extensive. They can be, when you're at this lined up in that slot, you can still run to the sideline. The guys outside the numbers, they have limitations because if you lined up on the right side outside the numbers, you can't go right. You can only go left or back or forward, right? So I think he's probably going to try to put Loveland and Luther Burden in that position as much as he possibly can because they're very quick on their feet and they're elusive and you never know where they're going. And to me, Rome personally, DJ, not to disagree with you, but for me personally, I think Rome to me is more of that outside guy who a lot of comeback routes, a lot of slants across the middle of the field in that mid-range, that 20-yard pass. I think Rome could be good in the slot, but of the three options,
a lot of guys that are really good at that, though, Kyle. Like, I mean, if Rome is in that role,
Rome's the best route runner around.
That's Devontae Adams.
But I'm adjusting.
Like a lot of good receivers.
I'm responding I'm addressing his chat specifically. He said he would rather have Rome in the slot as a big wide. Here it is, right here. When you look at Roman College playing a big slot wide receiver, makes a lot of sense. I personally, I'm not saying he would be bad at it, DJ or J2K. I'm not disagree with you. But if you look at the three of them,
the best on the team,
Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Coastal 11. For me personally, Rome Odunze of the three of them would fit the most outside of all the. If you look at it, I think Luther Burden's a better slot option, and I think Coastal 11's a better slot option. Just me personally.
It makes sense. To scheme Luther Burden open like that slot position, like you guys said to Mom and Rob, to scheme Luther open is going to be far more beneficial to you than to do so with Rome, where Rome, I think, is a more fine-tuned route runner. He's more, he's like a surgeon in the way that he's running his routes, but he's also a better contested catch guy than Luther Burden is, so he should play the outside. Rome should play the majority of the outside.
I think putting any of these guys in a box in this offense and Ben Johnson's offense would be doing ourselves and them a disservice. And I just looked up the percentage for Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's basically 50-50 slot and outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what you'll see out of Luther Burden.
And you might see the same out of Rome Odunze, and you'll see Colston Loveland getting more slot opportunities because of that success you pointed out, Sean.
When I see
keep the defense on their feet, man. Don't
keep the defense on their toes.
When I see Rome Odunze, I think of Michael Pittman, and I think of a guy who is a great possession receiver who finds the soft spot and get that catch. Not explosive after the catch, just a good wide receiver who knows how to get open.
I would certainly hope that his ceiling is higher than Michael Pittman's.
Michael Pittman's 100 catch, 1,000 yard.
I do agree though that Sean's correct. Rome finds the seam. Prophet makes the point right here that I think is why Rome was the leading receiver for this Bears team throughout the first half of the season. It's because Caleb likes to scramble, and Rome and him have a better connection than anybody else. Rome, in terms of getting back to the ball, making himself available when Caleb is in scramble, getting to this spot.
and that will still be a thing this year.
I'll say that in the first 6 weeks of the season, Luther Burden and Colston Loveland weren't very acclimated to the offense, and Rome was a little bit more comfortable, and I think that was the difference. Ben Johnson's going to want
they all have
the burden in Colston Loveland's hands a lot more this year. The more the ball's in their hands, the better things are going to happen for the Bears off.
Well, and I'll agree with that too, Sean, because I think the best player outside of Rome when Caleb was on the move was probably, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, early in the season was Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, J2K says just say
he could never catch the ball.
Rome was best in college running crossing routes. He never was a deep ball threat. Rather, he wasn't getting separation deep. He was more of a 50-50 jump ball guy in deep routes. To be honest with you guys, personally, I think Ben Johnson is still figuring Rome Odunze out. I think Rome Odunze's sales pitch coming out of college for everybody. Rome Odunze was that he's the best contested ball guy in college football. I haven't seen that yet. I'm not saying he's not capable of doing that, and maybe he just hasn't had the opportunity because
There hasn't been a lot of those opportunities.
Yeah, well, and the offense just hasn't clicked. You know, you had a
he's
first year
unfortunately
quarterback,
on
then you
those
hired a new
passes,
coach
he's
to
dropped the
change the
ball.
offense. The scheme changed. He's trying to figure everybody in. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. What I'm saying is right now, if I'm Ben Johnson, looking at the tape of Rome Odunze since he was drafted by the Chicago Bears, I am trying to figure out where I'm going to put him because so far, even if
You're
he
going to put him at your
hasn't,
number one receiver spot, Kyle. That's where you're going to put him.
he hasn't been bad,
Where's
but
he
he's been
be?
for number 9 pick in the draft. He's certainly been disappointing for sure.
Oh,
That I agree with.
and listen, I just want to make the point because Flex said, you know, I mean, talking about the injury and using that as an excuse, I don't interpret it that way. I don't think that's the way that he meant it. I don't think that that's the way it should be interpreted. It's more of him. If you listen to more of what he said and read more of what he said, I'm ready to be the number one wide receiver, right? I'm ready to step into those shoes. Last year was a disappointing year. Nobody was more disappointed in it than Rome. But when it comes to him talking about his foot, it's more just like me figuring out how to be that number one receiver with this new thing I now have to deal with. It's not saying, well, lower your expectations because my foot is so fucked that you're never going to see me hit those numbers. That's not what he's saying. He's saying he's ready to be your number one. I think the Bears believe that he can and will be, and I think you're going to see that come to fruition on the football field. I don't think that the guy is making excuses. I think he's taking accountability more so than anything in terms of he had a disappointing season last year because of that injury, and he wants to move past that.
So, Dustin, do you have Luther Burden third in the pecking order for yards? I'm assuming.
You know, I haven't thought that far ahead of it, and I really don't know that I care. Honestly, like I want all these guys to be successful. I want this offense to be like greatest show on turf type shit in Chicago Bear weather. How amazing is that going to be?
Sure.
I just really want. If Rome is going to be in your number one receiver position, Rome will be the number one guy. He might not be your number one producing receiver, but he will be the number one guy in terms of how your offensive scheme is laid out.
I do believe
Burden is going to be on the opposite side of him. I think Rome is going to establish himself as the guy that can win those 50-50 balls in this season, that can beat guys on routes, that can get open downfield. I think you're already seeing it in OTAs, all these clips coming out. I think Rome and Caleb are going to develop something special this year. Whether that means he's going to have more receiving yards than Colston Loveland, I don't know.
So you're just saying he'll be the first look.
You're not going to be disappointed with Rome Odunze after this season, Kyle. That's what I'm saying. Because you're disappointed with him right now.
Respectively, Colston Loveland.
If I probably always be a little bit disappointed in Rome Odunze, but not because of Rome Odunze, because the Bears decided to take him at number 9, and that's not Rome Odunze's fault.
Yeah, that's not his fault.
He didn't say draft me at number 9. The Bears they had Brock Bowers, they had Jared Verse. They decided to draft Rome Odunze. So I think automatically, naturally, for Bears fans, expectations were very high, and maybe. Are unfair. I mean,
he feels the pressure.
He was a 1,600-yard receiver at Washington. Do I think that Rome Odunze is ever going to be a 1,600-yard receiver in Chicago? No, I don't.
Respectively, when I asked you guys who's the best player of the three, I think Colston Loveland will finish ranked possibly top 3 at the tight end position. I don't see Luther Burden or Rome Odunze being a top 3 wide receiver.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%, Brandon. Colston Loveland will be a top. We all ranked him as a top 3 tight end in our tight end rankings. We all agree with that. We would not put Rome or Luther.
That's also not comparing apples to apples.
But it's just, but it matters in terms of on the football
it doesn't matter.
Production. It does.
They're different positions. But if Colston Loveland was ranked against Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, he ain't finishing top 3 either, guys. Let's be realistic here.
Well, it matters because you're talking about a guy that establishes himself at his position.
Apples to apples. But Sean, when I ask who's the best player, I'm not asking is Colston Loveland the best wide receiver on the team. I'm asking who's the best player at the position they play. And Colston Loveland can only play one position, a position he's drafted to play.
But you just compared the 2 positions and said he's going to finish number 3.
Yeah, but the question I asked you is who is the best player? Who is the best player?
Kyle just summed it up. He said it perfectly. The number 1 tight end is not as valuable as the number 8 receiver in the league. That is a fair.
That's 100% fact.
Sure, but that's not the question. What I asked you is who is the best player at their position on the team.
It's
I
Luther
don't know,
Burden.
Bert, I feel like we spend a lot of these shows where you're
answered
trying to
that.
convince us to love Colston Loveland. I think everybody in this
Well, no,
chat,
I just
everybody
asked
in
the
this
question. I
podcast
was
loves
told, who
Colston Loveland. I don't
cares?
understand.
Like, I
It's like
care.
a
That's why I
constant.
fucking asked it.
It's a fun thing to think about and talk about. And yes, if you're talking about a guy on this offense, guys, that's not Caleb Williams, that's going to establish themselves as the best at their position with that potential, wouldn't you bet on Colston Loveland over
Potential
anybody
all
else?
pro. Potential all pro.
Are you talking about
on the
every
football
position?
team.
Yeah,
I think
every position on
Joe
offense.
Tooney. I think Joe Tooney is the best player on the Chicago Bears.
Well,
I think
for
he's the
sure.
best player on
Okay.
the Chicago Bears.
There you
All
go.
right, so but let's eliminate offensive line now. Who are you going to? Colston
Caleb
Loveland,
Williams.
probably, right?
Caleb Williams. Yeah,
Okay.
probably,
I said besides Caleb in my question, so I already eliminated him.
I mean, I just don't, it doesn't matter to me, guys. I don't care if he's number 4, number 5 next year. I don't care if he's number 3, as
I
long
care
as
if
he's
he's
really,
all
really
pro.
good. That's all I
He's
give a
all
shit
pro.
about. I just
I
care
care if a
if he's
Chicago
do I
Bears
think he's
player's
better than
all
Brock
pro.
Bowers? Like, can I say that today? No, I don't. But
I
at
don't
some
either.
point, could he be? Yes. Could he be? Yes, 100%. Yeah.
All right, what else are we getting into today, guys?
Yeah, 100%. So for me, and I personally do think Luther Burden could be an All-Pro, and that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and there's only
I
one
have
way
a
to find
higher
out.
I have a
We'll have
higher
to wait.
opinion than other people on the panel apparently.
I like Luther Burden, but if I'm comparing to Chase,
Swaggy
Jamar
says the
Chase
best
and
player on the
Justin
Bears is
Jefferson
Kyler
and those,
Santos.
I'm not ready to say that.
I just said he wasn't as good, but no one thought that about JSN last year. And JSN, what, top 3 in the league?
I think
JSN
Chase
was
is
the
a
best
better
player
player
in
than
football.
Luther Burden.
You just
Number
never know
one.
what's going to happen.
Number 1 in the
You
league.
can say that definitely because Luther Burden, you can't see Luther
I
Burden
said I
coming
think.
out having
I said
13,
I didn't say
1,400 yards this
definitively.
year.
I said I think.
Luther
I think
Burden is a fucking stud. You know, everybody here loves him. I projected him to go to the Bears in the 2nd round. I did because I love this fucking kid. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft, and I still think that. So
Swaggy's really making a case for Kyler Santos.
but
And
Loveland and him are both very good
and
players.
honestly, and Egbuka was a better player than Luther Burden last year.
Yeah, he had more opportunity. He was a number
Right.
1 receiver
Right now,
week
right now-
1 because they lost every receiver.
Right now,
It's
what
about
we're doing
opportunity.
is taking digs at guys on our own team to try to make our point about the guy.
No,
that
I'm
we-
not. I like them
am
all.
not taking a
I like
dig
them
at
all. I hope
anybody.
they're all
I'm
very
not,
good.
by me saying that Luther Burden would be really tough for him to be
Egbuka
an
in the second
all-pro
half of the
player.
season sucked ass, dude.
He absolutely he
He sucked
disappeared off
ass.
the face
He
of the
was
planet.
he was awesome. He was on my.
Oh, I
fantasy
thought you
team.
said and Puka. I'm like, he did not suck ass.
Egbuka.
Oh, I thought you
Sucked
said-
ass
It would
the
be
second half
it
of
would
the
be very listen when you're talking about who and I love
Tanked my
Luther Burden,
fantasy
guys. I love Luther Burden. But to be all pro, he has to be better than Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Jackson Smith. It's a tough thing to do at a receiver position. It's a really tough thing to
In
do.
Ben's offense with his talent, there's a good possibility.
Yeah, we all know Joe Tooney is the guys. Kyle, you made that question fucking pointless by going to Joe Tooney. Yeah, obviously Joe Tooney.
To be honest with you guys, I think it's a pointless question. Pointless question. Sean, you want to move on to the stadium side?
let's
boring
move on
and
to
let's
what else we're talking.
Get it out of the way because I think people are just sick of talking about it here.
No, it's something that's gonna be talked about, and it's important, man. It is. and
Well,
it's
I mean,
a
I
bench
hope you
session
know-
for Sean.
Well, Indiana just actually put this up, erected this after their mayor came out and decided to say that this was a done deal.
They got
I'm
a
gonna
Bears boner for sure.
Yeah, here I'm going to say this. Do I think it was significant? Sure. Do I think it was definite? Absolutely not. And I'll say this. Yeah, I did it, and I don't give a shit. I'm tired of the Democrats in this state. They are killing this. They found $2.5 million for illegal immigrants in this shelter them in this state, but yet you can't find $855 million for the Chicago Bears. Fuck these guys. I'm sorry. They're screwing over the Chicago Bears. They've been screwing over the Chicago Bears. Bears fans' blood in the state of Illinois should be boiling because J.B. Pritzker said no money for tax relief on this new stadium. But $2.5 billion once again for the state of Illinois, from the state of Illinois for what?
Illegal
What was it?
immigration. Illegal immigration.
Yeah, shelter operations, vendors, contractors. But what? You couldn't find $855 million for infrastructure to keep the Bears in Chicago?
They said
Again.
They said they would have settled for 700. The Bears said 700. So you're talking about $150 million less than that number. Like, dude, listen, I said this when it came out. We had this conversation about the Bears front office, about Illinois politicians, bureaucrats. Sean, I agree with you that the Bears have screwed up. There's no doubt about it. I'm not
100%
saying
they
that
have.
any way,
I don't
shape,
put it on
but
the
for
Bears
this,
at all.
but for this guy, that guy right there, to once again be like, come out on a public television and be like, I'm amazing. All I care about is the taxpayers. It's the Bears who are really trying to put a burden on you guys. They're billionaires. They're billion-dollar football franchise owners. Don't like the Bears, like me. It's just a voting thing. He just wants to get voted in again. He knows this is a disaster to lose the Chicago Bears. This is going to be the toughest thing that JB Pritzker has had to overcome since he became the Illinois governor.
Besides his stairs at home.
He's a piece of shit. At the same time, he was talking about the Bears. Look at this hand over here. The Bears are being mean. They're asking for too much. The same time that was happening, the Illinois Senate was voting to pass something where people from illegal immigrants from out of state can now get funding for Illinois colleges. Something that some people are United States citizens living in Illinois citizens can't even get funding.
Yeah.
They're not all getting funding for Illinois to go to college. He's just an absolute Howie. You nailed it on the head. The guy is an absolute scumbag. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not even getting the conversation of right or left, blue or red. It doesn't matter. Even if you are blue, the guy is an absolute boob. He's a piece of shit. He's going to chase the Chicago Bears out of Illinois, this team that's been here for over 100 years now. The franchise charter quarterback or franchise of the NFL. This guy's going to kick them out of the state.
Don't
He's
you
a piece
think
of shit.
that's
He's
what
a piece of shit.
Listen, I asked this question about Kevin Warren last week when we had this conversation, and I said, do you think Kevin Warren just didn't go to Springfield because he fucking missed his alarm? No, he didn't want to. And don't you think, doesn't a part of you think like Pritzker and all these other guys, they kind of they don't want the Bears?
Citadel.
They
look pompous.
NFL.
They got you.
Let me finish answering my question here. Let me finish asking my question. Yes, and then I'll answer it as well. NFL football is like a remnant of this old America that they don't want. They have shown that they don't want it. The values and the traditions and those things that matter to a lot of people don't seem to matter to them. The NFL is a bunch of dudes beating the shit out of each other on a football field, and it brings in a lot of money. It creates a revenue stream in your state, in your city, and it makes you better. But it seems like there's this
jobs too.
It seems like there's this intentionality behind decisions that are made that say we're actively trying to make this worse. Like, we don't want the NFL in our state, and Indiana's over here like, we really, really want another fucking football team in our state because they're prioritizing it in a different way. I really do think there's a part of JB Pritzker that's like, yeah, he's taking a stand because he's trying to get his vote to back him, and I'm standing up against that big bad corporation. Exactly what you're saying, Kyle. But also, I think that there's something behind it where it's just like we don't give a fuck about football. Football's for those guys over there. We don't care about football.
And that could be very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I don't see Pritzker popping in front of a TV on a Sunday and watching it.
Yeah, no, he's like, no.
Well, we all know Brandon Johnson.
And neither is his voting base.
When he talks about this, when you watch him on TV, the chest out, the chin up, like this.
He's like happy.
Like
he's
got
proud.
you moment.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
He's
Bears,
proud.
you fucked around and found out. You guys wanted to mess with us. We're Illinois. We own Illinois. You can't stop.
Bears need to go.
Yeah,
Bears need to go.
The Bears are supposed to bow down and be like, all right, we'll give you
$125
$125 million a year in property taxes when the highest team in the NFL right now plays 7.8 in the Los Angeles Rams, or 8.9 or whatever it is. You know what? If I were the Bears, and I know Bears fans are going to hear me saying this, I texted this to Sean the other day.
You gotta go.
Do yourself a favor, Bears, and do the same thing all of us are going to do before we die. Get the fuck out of here. Just get out of here, man. Stop dealing with this shit. It's garbage.
Now, can I ask you guys? I want to ask you guys a question, and I didn't think of this. I found this searching the web, and I was like, dude, this is an amazing freaking idea. If the Bears do move to Indiana, how about this? Tailgating on the water. How about that? Would that not be something you would partake in, dude?
I would throw up, but I understand.
You will not throw up. Come on. You wouldn't even feel it moving, man. It'd be moving so gosh darn slow.
I would do it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There's a difference between politicians asking taxpayers to pay for a stadium versus politicians like willfully working against that team and really like trying to find a way to not make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like the politicians in the state are trying to find a way to make it not work. Like they don't even want a part of it. And if they don't have the Bears here, they don't give a shit.
All right, you guys, not to change that. Am I crazy or does that thing not look like JB Pritzker? You guys remember that old show Dinosaurs, the baby? Is that not
the
JB?
baby? Gotta love
he
me.
looks just like him, dude.
That's some shit Pritzker would say too.
him.
You gotta love me.
Here.
Well, and I think, you know, as taxpayers, guys, we raised a lot of hell about what it is our money's spent on. I think a majority of Chicago is okay with it being the Bears. I mean, call me crazy, but like, they're the fucking Bears. Like,
I think
most
if you
people
ask
in
the
the city
majority of
love the
people in-
Bears.
yeah, I think if you ask the majority of people in Chicago and in Illinois, would they say, would you want to do whatever you can to keep the Bears here? They would say, fuck yes, that's our football
If it's going to
team.
increase your taxes, would you
Yes.
prefer the Bears stick around? I think they're going to be like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I love the
I
Bears.
like that even better, Howie. I like that even better.
Real quick, because Steve's in the chat now, and I know he's going to try to have as much fun with this as he possibly can. Steve, let me tell you something right now, man. I've grown up my entire life in Illinois. All my friends who are Green Bay Packers fans have grown up their entire life in Illinois, yet they still root for a team out of state, Wisconsin. Like we would have more right to vote for the Indiana Bear or to still root for the Indiana Bears than the Packers fans who were born and raised in Illinois rooting for the Packers. Like that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to me when people are like, "Oh, you guys are rooting for a team outside of your state." Now, yeah, the same shit that all you shit talkers been doing for the last 38 years of my life. Like I don't give a shit. And all Wisconsin fans are Cubs fans somehow. None of them are Brewers fans. They're all Cubs fans somehow. And once again, rooting for a team out of state. That shit doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. I don't give a shit about.
But they're also going to stay the Chicago Bears, Kyle, and they're still going to operate out of Lake Forest. They're still going to operate out of Lake Forest.
Steve, and nobody roots for your hockey team. Oh wait, that's right. Sorry.
And I got to get this out because Prophet, I think you said this a few weeks in a row. And if you want to go back to that Minnesota deal, it's been talked about over and over ad nauseum. The same thing that's happened here happened there with Kevin Warren, where they had a handshake deal. They went out on the podium in Arden, Minnesota, and said, "We're building the stadium here. This is where we're moving. This is the new thing. This is where we're going." And then, oops, that fell through a few months later, and they wound up going back to Minnesota and building in downtown Minneapolis. Again, this is all bullshit. Was it significant, as I said to begin? Yes. Is it definite? By no means no. There's no contracts. There's no shovels. There's no cranes until any of those things happen.
They haven't even set a
site. Not definite.
They haven't even picked the site.
Yeah, they haven't even
picked the site. Said it today. The Bears were like, we still haven't picked the site. But a lot of things are promising.
If you're in this game of chicken, if you're the Chicago Bears and you're in this game of chicken with the state of Illinois, are you going to be the first one that veers off?
No, Dustin. I'm glad you said that because I was just about to say, Sean, I think that this is another negotiating tactic because they're trying to go to Arlington Heights or go back to Chicago. But I will say this, Sean.
Illinois don't want
what Dustin just said. The more that Illinois gives them the bird, that flicks them off to their face, kicks them in the nuts every time they walk in the door, the closer and closer they are inching towards it, being like, you know what, fine. If they don't want us here, we'll just go. Fine. Sorry, guys.
I really do believe they don't want them here, man.
I think the statement from the Chicago Bears was, "Hey, McCaskey, shut the fuck up. Quit telling everybody how much you want to be here. You're ruining any chance we have of dealing with these fucking guys. Shut your mouth, dude. Quit saying, I love Chicago. We're not leaving.
Stop showing your cards. Stop showing your cards.
Knock it off, dude."
Well, he's in a tough position with that because he's got to like placate to the fans too, right? You know, if he's getting asked those questions.
I think he might also be an idiot.
You know what? I want to play poker with George McCaskey.
He also just spent $300 million on a property in Arlington Heights.
Yeah, he'd probably like to use it.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, the Bears are going to sell that off to contractors in pieces and make tenfold what they spent.
Yeah, no doubt. Real estate is always – that's why you buy that because it's always going to be valuable and go up in value, yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, they should have evaluated this. You know what they evaluated? We're going to be able to – if we can't build a stadium here, we'll break
George
this
is
up
a realtor
into
now.
little pieces and we'll sell it for thousands of dollars on the fucking penny.
You know what's real? You know what?
People will buy it up. No problem.
You know where Illinois really dropped the ball is now that you've heard multiple different companies coming out, or billionaires basically, who own random like entertainment companies, behind the scene companies. You don't even know who they are. That were like, we would have bought Soldier Field. We wouldn't. They never even. Chicago never even asked anybody if it told anybody it was for sale. Like we would have bought it, stuck a dome on it, and had a bunch of concerts there, and done. But they didn't even ask. Chicago didn't even ask. Like, hey, instead of worrying about the debt on Soldier Field and should the Bears, how about this? We'll sell the field. We'll use that money for the infrastructure for Arlington Heights, and the Bears can go there. but they
There's
they're not
there's
even
a,
asking.
there's a Morgan Wallen concert at Soldier Field on June 16th. Who's making the money on that?
The city of
The
Chicago
city.
Park District.
Not
The
yeah,
city.
Chicago
not
Park
not
District.
not
That's what's
not
making
George
money off that.
McCaskey.
No,
That's
it's
why they're not going to offer that stadium up because
100%.
they make all the fucking concession.
Yeah,
So
but
let
it's-
them make the money. Let them make the money and go make yours.
It
Chicago
could
Bears.
still be a publicly owned stadium. If a company
Here-
bought half of it, it's still a publicly owned stadium. They would Park District would still make a ton of money off of it. A ton.
I'm not as down on the move as I once was. I hate the fact that the
I don't
Bears won't be
blame
in
them.
Illinois.
I'm with
But
Dustin.
at the same time, I don't know that I'll call them the Chicago Bears anymore.
They will still be the Chicago Bears,
They will.
Sean,
I
and
just
that's
don't know. I
that's
don't
the
know if
crux of
I'll
this
call them
conversation.
The Chicago Bears.
Because when this was talking,
They'll just
being
be the
talked
Bears
about,
to me.
for sure, I feel you. And we this has been going on for a while now. And a year ago, me and Brandon were on the bare minimum, and Brandon kind of had a meltdown. We were talking about like Brandon was like, I'm about who's in my city. I'm about geography. I'm about geography. That was Brandon's comment, and he said, "I don't know if I can." He said, "I don't know if I can be a Bears fan if
Well,
they're
they're
not
still the
in
closest
Chicago."
team to me, though.
Yeah. Proximity wise, I guess,
Yeah,
yes, for sure.
geography.
But like, dude, I don't blame the Bears for the situation that they're
Neither
in
do
and
I.
what they're trying to get done, and they're trying to give the best experience possible to the fans, and they're also trying to make sure that they can still make their money. It's at the end of the day, it's billionaires fighting billionaires, and it is what it is. We're just here for the ride.
We're
We got
just
no
pawns.
control. Yeah, we got no control over it. At the
Here,
end of the day,
I'll be honest with
I'm
you.
gonna root for the Chicago Bears
I
if they're in fucking
exactly.
Hammond or in Soldier Field. I am.
Wherever
Yeah,
the
still
Bears
still-
are, I'm a
still
Bears
the-
fan.
Hold on,
till I
Sean,
die.
real quick. I want to address. Steve says they're going to Hammond, Indiana. They will not be in Chicago. Steve, that doesn't mean anything. The New York Giants, New York Jets are still called the New York Giants and New York Jets. And they both
And
play
they
in
play in
Jersey.
East
They don't
Rutherford,
play in
New
New York.
Jersey.
Look, the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco. The
Play in
Kansas City
Santa
Chiefs
Clara.
don't play
Well,
downtown Kansas City.
Hold on. Let me ask a question.
There's half the teams in the
Kansas
league
City's
don't
not even going to
play-
play
because of
in
these same
Missouri anymore.
Let me ask a question. Hey, Steve, if the Packers left Wisconsin, would you be a Packers fan?
I don't know, man, because he's like a Yankees fan and like a Red Wings
Oh
fan.
God,
He's-
then why
he's
are
all
we
over
even
the
having this?
place.
He goes
conversation?
where the wind blows.
Steve, we love you. We love you, Steve. I'm not making fun of him. That's
Here,
the truth.
no,
I
I'll
know
say
he's a
this.
Yankees fan for sure. I
I'm
don't know
with
who he
Dustin.
roots for in hockey.
I'm going to be a Bears fan until the day that I die. I want that on my tombstone. I died a Bears fan. I don't care. I said Bears fan, not Chicago Bears fan. If they're not in the state of Illinois, if they move to Arlington Heights, they can still be the Chicago Bears. If they move to Hammond, Indiana, they're just going to be the Bears to me. But they're still going to be my favorite.
Yeah, and you know
only
what?
football team in
And you
this
know
world.
what? From a Packers fan like Steve, who's probably been bitching about Soldier Field, if he's ever been there, Steve, I don't know if you've been there or not before, but you bitch all Packers fans do, and I don't blame him because Soldier Field sucks. You guys will be happier than anybody if you ever come to a visiting or away game for the Packers in Chicago or Hammond. You'll be like, this is one of the most beautiful stadiums.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate point.
Like that will be. You'll be like, I don't give
However
a
this-
shit about where it
Kyle.
is. It's much better than that shithole Soldier Field.
Kyle, however this plays out, it's going to be a better experience for the fans. It's going to be
Yes,
a beautiful stadium. You're going to be able to hold more events there. You're going to be able to take this franchise to that next level. They've been
You're gonna have a
living in
Super Bowl.
This
You're
the
gonna
Bears
host
have
a
been
Super
living in
Bowl.
the past for a long time. Their offense, remember, was like remember a couple years ago with fucking the Matt Nagy coach team. They were like their passing offense was stuck in the 1950s, bro.
Took him 35 years to run a
Yeah.
slant route, man.
Yeah. So, like, this is just another step in the evolution of the Bears coming into this now in the NFL. They're coming into this era of the NFL, and it's going to work out fine for them one way or the
and
other.
most
we'll still catch them
importantly-
on TV. And
Most importantly, I won't be going to as many games, but most importantly, the games I do go, games I go to. Sean and I now have an excuse as to why we have to stay out there and drink.
It'll be an event.
Go to a hotel. I'll be like,
it'll be
it's
an
a little bit
event.
further away. We don't want to risk the drive. Sorry, honey. I'll be
But
home
I already
tomorrow.
told
Let
my
me,
wife,
let me,
I'm
let me
not
say
coming
real
home
quick.
for
I
the
got,
game.
I got
I'm all right with
Steve, I love you, but I got to do this. No matter where the Bears go, they will host the Super Bowl before Lambeau Field ever does. So suck on that.
Yeah, but
Hopefully,
Lambeau's
they're
good.
in a Super Bowl.
Lambeau's awesome.
And,
I'm
and
not
again,
gonna-
I'll say
I'm
this.
not going to come in here and shit on Lambeau. Lambeau's one of the greatest experiences in the NFL, man. It's
I
absolutely
will. I
amazing.
will say this.
Amazing.
I still don't think it was definite. I think obviously.
Sean, you're right. You're right. This is the last negotiating tactic, though. This is it.
This is it. It's getting
This is
close
it.
to the end.
Okay,
I think here in the next 3 to 4 weeks we might have an answer.
Let's
maybe
say
3 to
this.
4 months.
Let's say this to Flex. He says it hurts them leaving the city either way. The people of the city get screwed again, but the
Yeah.
people of the city screw themselves with
Yeah.
the people they put in positions of power that run
That's
that
not
city.
voting
Yeah,
for
because
the
that's
that
who
run
votes
that
for our
state.
leadership.
You kind of screw
Cook
yourself.
County.
you kind of screw yourself. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, stop voting for this shit, and you don't have to deal with this. You guys, there's reason.
Honestly, man, like you're fucked
Salt
either way. We're all fucked either way. Like we're just pawns, no matter what, no matter who the fuck.
Yeah, none of them are great people, but I think some are. I do think that there are some that are better than others, though, for sure.
Yeah, and just try something different. Just try something different.
I'm all for the cheerleaders, Howie. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it, man. I'm all
Suck
for
on
it,
those Indiana cheerleader titties. Okay, I just read that chat out loud. He
Oh,
also said something about you can't tax titties on the water. That's what he said.
Real quick, guys. This is not a segment on the show. We didn't have it planned. I've had a couple debates on my Facebook forums, if you will. I want to ask the question, and I want your sincere answer without bias. Did the Packers just extend a play caller to be their head coach?
Matt, I would have gone a different direction if I was the Packers. I've said that already.
Is he a play caller?
I don't believe.
Is he a play caller, guys?
He's not a leader of men. I know that. Like he's gotten good results, and he's a damn good.
I was just gonna say. I mean, they're in it every year.
Yeah, he's gotten good results.
Yeah, you guys. It's not. Guys, don't ever be the fan that thinks with their heart, not their brain. Like, dude, you guys.
I'm asking this question.
These haven't had a bad season in like 50 years.
I'm asking this question because
they have a damn good stadium, beautiful stadium that I love to go to. It's actually probably my favorite stadium to go to in sports. And they have a coach who has an amazing record, and until last year has beaten the shit out of the Bears every fucking game.
Hold on, though, man. Just relax. The question is, I'm asking the question.
Their potential?
I'm asking the question because these debates grew loud and large once Christian Watson was given the contract. A lot of people say Micah Parsons is the reason the Packers didn't go any further than they did. The injury, I can't help you when you're constantly
he fell apart in the playoffs.
Yeah. When you're putting the blame, like, listen, it would be like us coming. It would be like us coming out and saying the players were responsible for Matt Eberflus's fourth quarter collapse, and that's just not the case. It's just not. And again, Kyle, you don't bring a guy into an office to discuss termination, and the guy walks out the fucking door with a paycheck. That's not a winning recipe.
Think about it from a different mentality. So, for instance, like you guys, there's only 5 best coaches in the NFL. There's only 5 best coaches in the NFL, right? And you're not going to have it. They don't grow on trees. It's very tough to find them.
Matt LaFleur's not even in the top 50.
We should be ecstatic and happy and blessed that Ben Johnson's on the Chicago Bears, because I think he's going to be in that conversation.
He's a top 5 coach.
But Lovie Smith wasn't here. We didn't hate him. I didn't hate him. Was he a top 5 coach in the NFL? No, absolutely not. But I didn't hate him. He brought the Bears success.
Would you be happy as a Packers fan to extend Matt LaFleur?
I wasn't running up to Soldier Field like, please fire Lovie Smith. They fired him when he finished 10-6. Matt LaFleur, I think, is a good coach who maybe isn't just he's not maximizing the potential there. He's just not. Maybe the play
would you be happy that he got an extension?
Strength? I don't know. Would I be happy as a Bears fan? Yes.
No,
as a Packers fan.
Okay, yeah, okay. Why are you happy as a Bears fan?
because they're not getting Ben Johnson. Because they're not getting Andy Reid. Because they're not getting.
They didn't get
Sean
John
McVay.
Harbaugh.
That's why. But that doesn't. Right. Where would you rank LaFleur in coaching right now out of 32? 8, 9?
16th, 17th.
No way.
Yeah,
no way. You can't look at the record.
And 46.
You cannot look at the record and say.
I think he's the worst coach in the North.
Come on, man.
You just got division.
Who's the worst coach? Who's the worst coach in the NFC North?
And people might not agree with
you guys are going to like it.
Coach in the NFC North?
You and Dustin are not going to like it because I know you guys love him, but you see what happened to Dan Campbell when Ben Johnson left.
I was just about to say Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell is definitely the guy in the conversation.
Although Kevin
O'Connell banked on his I can draft anybody and make him anything. So you could reasonably argue that a lot of every single one of these coaches is. But I would have to say, guys, Matt Eberflus did exactly what without the wins, he did exactly what Matt LaFleur has done over the course of the last year, and we crucified the guy because he didn't win games. He didn't win games, but fourth quarter.
You got to be careful just looking at the last year with LaFleur versus looking at his entire resume, man.
I don't think LaFleur sucks as a coach.
Well, okay. So let's look at his entire resume. The Eagles fired Andy Reid. Why?
Because they kept getting to the dance and couldn't win it.
Because they kept having a team that was favored to win a Super Bowl. They kept having a team that was favored to win the Super Bowl and never did. And Andy Reid is
Andy
now a
Reid was
Super
there
Bowl
for
winner.
Andy
like
Reid
20
was ready to
years.
go. Andy Reid was
But-
ready to go.
He was
too.
there for like
That's-
25
for a
years.
fresh- fresh
Do you guys know the Packers were favored by Vegas to win the Super Bowl twice in Matt LaFleur's career?
They're always favored between the Super Bowl because
The Cubs are always
all
favored to
about
win the World
pedigree.
Series.
Vernon,
Go
it's
look at the odds at the
pedigree.
beginning of the year. It doesn't mean they're going to win it.
It's all
I'm
pedigree.
surprised. I'm surprised I'm getting this rebuttal. I am. I think
listen,
Matt,
I don't think-
I think
I
Matt
just-
LaFleur's on the hot seat. I think he's going to be in the hot seat.
I
for the
just
remainder
said
of this
Matt
season.
LaFleur. He should not have been. I would not have re-signed him if I was the Packers. I would have tried something different because he lost that team at the most important time, and it seemed like that might be the trajectory they're on. But if you look at his resume overall, I can't hold
agree,
it
Flex.
against a GM or an owner who wants to keep him because you consistently are in the mix when he has been your head coach, man.
Yeah, I
It's-
think
it's a-
Justin.
it's
I
both
think
sides
you
of
nailed
it.
it on the head right from the start. I don't think this guy can motivate.
But
managers.
James, but really quick, James, to that point, he was the one who traded to get Mahomes. So Andy Reid saw something that nobody else did in Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, I was happy
And
that the
went out.
Packers kept
Oh.
LaFleur. I was happy
Well, I can tell you this
because I think Ben Johnson has his fucking number. He's got
for my
his number.
personally, I think
Hold on,
Matt
let me
LaFleur is the
finish.
worst
I
coach
just
in the
said,
north.
Let me tell you this. Let me finish and then rebuttal. The biggest coaching blunder in the NFC North is not the Green Bay Packers re-signing Matt LaFleur. By
It's
any
the
means necessary.
Lions hiring.
It's the fact
Petzing.
that Ben Johnson was on the staff as the tight ends coach. They decided to retain him. So obviously, they liked him, and they were like, "But let's go hire a coach outside of the organization." And Dan Campbell, when they could have just been like, "Hey, Ben, you're here. We like you a lot. You're staying." We
Yeah, but
think
he
you're
hadn't
good
even
enough."
That's
called
unfair
play.
to the Lions.
That-
That's unfair to the Lions.
I-
though.
He hadn't
whether it
even
is or
called
not,
plays.
it doesn't matter.
It
It doesn't matter if it
He
is or
was
not.
not the
It-
same guy
Listen,
then as
let
he
me
is.
let you
was
guys. A lot
when
of
the
you
Bears
keep
hired him.
interrupt more than let me finish, and then you guys.
That's
rebuttal.
not fair to say that. Though.
It doesn't matter if it is or not. As a Lions fan, that would still always haunt me for the rest of my life. Always for the rest of my life, I'd always be like, when Ben Johnson was here, is one of the best we've ever looked in the last 80
but
years, probably.
But
And then
you
he
also
left, and now
just
we look like
chose
shit
Dan.
again.
But you also just chose Dan Campbell over Ben Johnson when you let Ben Johnson leave and you kept Dan Campbell. So
Yeah,
like,
numerous
which one?
time, twice now.
So-
It's back
so
to
what-
back.
So like they
Well,
made their
and-
decision
and
knowing what
I'm
they
sorry,
were
The
doing.
don't
coaching
be- don't be-
situation in Detroit is 10
Well,
times
don't
worse
be-
than that.
And listen, I can talk about Matt LaFleur, but I'm a
Not good.
non-biased analyst of the sport. Ben Johnson was pretty responsible for the Lions' losses in the playoffs.
He's
I
Ben
truly
Johnson
believe
was pretty
he was
responsible for the Bears loss in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so,
something-
so like, so you
that's
can
something you have
say
to keep an eye
you
on,
can
for
say
sure,
the
yeah.
the Lions fans will always think about that, but they might also think you got rid of the guy who fucking lost games in the playoffs. Now, I do believe this, guys.
And they
and
brought
I'm
in
saying
Drew
this.
Petzing
I'm
around,
saying this
James.
wholeheartedly. I'm saying this wholeheartedly. Steve, get as upset as you want. I don't care. I think Matt LaFleur is the worst coach in the NFC North,
I think we-
regardless of record. I do.
I don't
that he
think
was-
Dan, you guys. Dan Campbell, even after Ben Johnson left, which is not his fault, he hired Drew Pensing. Do you guys know who Drew Pensing is? Do you guys know who this guy is?
Yeah, the
Okay, hold on.
Cardinals offensive
All we've got,
coordinator,
all we've
yeah.
got
Have
is,
you guys
all
been-
we've got is Stacey.
He
King.
was in the conversation for Bears head coaches. Remember, he got
No.
interviewed for the Bears head coaching job when they hired Ben Johnson.
So
Drew
I'm going to
Pensing
ask you guys
sucks.
this:
He
He's
sucks.
terrible. He's
hottest
terrible.
seat in the NFC North. Drew Penzick, Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, or Dennis Allen.
Well, it's Dan Campbell. It's Dan Campbell.
No,
He's not-
they'll scapegoat Penzick.
Vernon, Matt LaFleur is just extended. It's Dan Campbell, bro.
Dan Campbell,
It's Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell has a losing season and misses the playoffs again.
Yeah, he's
might-
in
yeah,
big
that's-
trouble.
schedule in the
He's in
NFL?
big
That's a fair
trouble.
point, guys. That's a fair
I
Big
think they'll
trouble.
fire. I think they'll
Big
fire
trouble.
the OC again.
I think Dan Campbell is a damn good head coach, but yeah, if you're not getting
Yeah,
results,
you got Jameer Gibbs, Monroe St. Brown, Sam Laporta. You got
Well,
Jared Goff.
so your guys' answer is Dan Campbell. My answer is Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen is up there too. If this Bears defense don't
I
come
don't-
around, that's why we should get
I
into our
don't-
next topic and talk about it.
I don't think Dennis Allen's job is.
Yeah, I'm in. Bear secondary. Let's roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
And
let's do
then-
this.
let's tie it into that Bears defense too. The overall salary, because like I think that's
Yeah.
important. The thing I wanted to talk about with Jaylon Johnson, guys, and I'm glad Pearson talked about it to start the show. I'm glad you asked about it, Kyle.
I'm glad we're starting off with Jaylon
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah,
I
because
got
this is-
something for a lot of Bears
that's-
fans, and this on our shows the last couple of weeks talking about get him out of here.
No, listen. Here's why I brought this up as a topic to talk about
Well, James,
tonight,
you
guys.
played for the
Because
Lions.
Jaylon Johnson, in all of our minds and a lot of NFL minds, was a top 5 to 10 cornerback in the NFL before last year. Last year he gets hurt, right? That's fair to say, right? Top 5 to 10 cornerback. That's kind of how he was looked at, right?
Yep.
And now, last year he gets hurt. doesn't really get to play. When he finally gets to play, he's nowhere near 100%, and he's in a new defense that he hasn't been practicing in, and he really didn't look good. So now we're going into this new season with this. Some things have changed on the defense, but not much. It's a lot of the same. Are we adding a fully healthy top 5 to 10 cornerback back to this defense in Jaylon Johnson? And how much of a difference does that make in how this defense performs this season? That's I'm
so glad you asked that question, because I called Sean and I were on the phone this past Tuesday, and I said to Sean, I'm like, dude, I don't understand how Bears fans are so patient with the offense. It's like, well, Caleb's learning Ben Johnson's offense. There's a lot of new terminology, a lot of all the cadence, all the blah 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 blah. And Luther and Loveland, she's not going to be good till like week 8 or 9. Logan Jones probably won't start. But when it comes to the defense, they all suck. They changed their scheme big time as well. A totally different scheme. Even Montez Sweat said, this is one of the most difficult schemes I've ever had to learn in my life playing football. And none of these guys get any leeway in any way, shape, or form. And then you add on the fact that this guy tore the abductor off of the bone. Came back way too early, which we all agreed. We all agreed that when it happened, right?
Yeah, we were talking about
Came
that.
Back way too early.
Happened. Made no sense.
His season was hampered by injuries. He clearly at no point was
never played healthy.
Shape, perform 100%.
Never played healthy.
You get the same Jaylon Johnson, who's like the old Drew Revis type corner, where it's not all about interceptions. It's about giving as little space as possible to the defending player.
The quarterback doesn't throw his way.
Yeah, he doesn't get the ball because they're like, hey, Jaylon is always right on his ass, so do not throw it over there. If that's the guy you're getting, Sean and I have talked numerous times about how this defense is going to improve. That alone, guys, is huge. If you're talking about one of the best, Dustin, you said top 5 to 10 corners in the league, guarding Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all these guys in the NFC North are going to have to deal with. That to me is absolutely massive. That is a massive upgrade for the Bears over Nashawn Wright and Nick McLeod and
yeah. I mean, you talk about the additions. Kyle, you talk about the additions the Bears made in this offseason. I think that this Jaylon Johnson, just getting him back healthy, is the addition that no one's really
it's like getting
about.
A free agent. It's like you just signed a free agent, Jaylon Johnson.
This is going to be the unpopular opinion. I don't think Jaylon Johnson.
We're not surprised.
I don't think it's of course. I don't think. Thanks, Sean. I don't.
Brandon's the prom king. Let's go.
I don't think I'm just the person that makes the show the most interesting. I don't think Jaylon Johnson is going.
Oh my God! Did you just say that?
Yeah, I did. I don't think he's the most. I don't think he's a good press corner. I don't think that's the role Jaylon Johnson plays best at. And I don't think, if you guys disagree with that, I don't know what you're watching. He's not a phenomenal press corner. He never has been. He's a better coverage corner than he is a press corner, and he's one of the most expensive players on this defense, and he wasn't drafted by the guy who's coaching the team. I don't expect Jaylon Johnson to be a long-term future answer for the Bears.
All right.
What about this year, Brandon? Because that's what I'm talking about.
I think he's going to struggle.
Okay.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play. He's not a Dennis Allen player.
Let's see. Let's see. Go ahead, Sean.
According to James, he's never played 17 games in his career, which is an absolutely false statement because he played all 17 games in 2024. Now, when you get into some of the chats here over the past couple of weeks, he's injury prone, he's this, he's that. I decided to do a little research into it and say, hey, let's take a look at what Jaylon Johnson has done through his career. He's missed 20 games out of 102 regular season games, average of 3.3 games missed per season. Now, you want to look at the bigger picture of in the NFL and really talk about it?
What's the average games missed per your average player?
The average NFL player misses about 1.4 games per season due to injury, while roughly 33% of NFL players miss no games at all in any given year. Injuries are highly variable, and the results average out to an absence of about 3.1 games for players who require any kind of recovery time. So on average, players miss about 3 games per season. So what does that tell you about Jaylon Johnson?
Is it 3 or is it 1.3? Because you just said 1.3 is the average miss.
1.4.
Okay.
When recovery time is needed, it's 3.1. Most injuries take recovery time.
Jaylon Johnson's pass coverage grade and press coverage is 58.2.
No, now he's using Pro Football Focus.
now we get into Pro Football Focus. I just know this.
The guy's rated overall like an 80.
Bear fans like Brandon and podcasters
Often
who are
correct.
giving up on Jaylon Johnson, who has been
It's him
proven
giving
to
up.
be.
I think the Bears will.
You obviously just did because you just said he's going
he
to
just said he's
struggle.
going to struggle this
And he's
year.
not
and he's
gonna
not
be
gonna
I
a
on
don't
the
think he's
team
going to be a
long
part
term.
of the Bears. Do you guys disagree?
Oh, it depends on what he does this year. It depends on what the defense does this year.
Depends
And that's
on how
why
much
I
he
wanted to talk.
costs. To
Well. Listen. You keep saying that, but you
Bernard,
want
he doesn't
to pay
cost
players.
a lot. Go look at the top
right now.
10
He's on a
corners.
great contract.
Yeah,
but
he does
again,
not cost a lot.
But if he earns a better contract, that's amazing for your team.
Yes.
You want guys to earn big contracts and then pay them and keep them and have them keep playing. If he doesn't earn it, then that's kind of a win for you too, because you can move on. You can find a replacement. But it really depends on what Jaylon Johnson does.
Jaylon Johnson's cap hit
this
in 2027 is $22 million.
Okay.
What is that? What is that, Bernard? He was
one of the top
It's the
corners
total
in the
contract.
league when
Go
he
look
got
at
paid.
go look at his contract
Okay,
compared
so
to
if
the
he's
top
not
5 paid
one of
corners
the
in the
best,
NFL.
why
He's
am
not-
I always
he's not
viewed
the
as
top
a
5.
hater, guys? You just said Dennis
Because you
Allen
hate the Bears.
Dennis Allen is running a very different scheme. He's a press coverage defensive coordinator, guys. Jaylon Johnson's pass grade and press coverage is 58. It's not good.
Okay, but let me point out the flaw in that statistic. You haven't really seen Jaylon Johnson play consistently in press coverage.
No,
since
not
he's
his
been
entire
in the NFL.
career, Dustin.
Since he's
You
been
haven't.
in the NFL.
You have not his entire career.
He hasn't been asked to.
So
Exactly.
you know that he's not
too.
capable of it. If
That's
you're taking a small sample size of the times that he
why
is in
can I
press
not
coverage,
say that there's a possibility the guy struggles?
why haven't you let me finish my
Well, like
statement
I'm a
this entire
hater
time?
because I have
I'm
an
not calling
honest
you a hater.
opinion.
I'm not calling you a hater.
You just said this was going to be very unpopular.
Thanks,
opinion.
J2K. Thank you.
Yeah, Brennan, there's a possibility Rome Odunze doesn't fit Ben Johnson.
Brennan,
Sure,
You got to give him time to adjust.
Brennan,
Sure.
if you're
I don't
talking
think that you hate the guy, Kyle.
You got to give him time to adjust, man.
If
You
you're
gotta give him time
talking
to
about
adjust.
if you're talking
Take
about
him a year.
Jaylon Johnson's numbers and press coverage, those numbers are skewed because he hasn't played a lot of it. He hasn't been asked to play a lot of
Sure,
it. He hasn't practiced in it. Brennan.
Guys,
he
what's
hasn't
funny about these
learned that
segments-
system. So
You
that's why
asked
I'm
a
trying. So
question.
you don't think? Oh, hold on. Let me.
I'm the only person that answers the question the way you don't prefer, and it's a fucking problem. You asked a question. That was my answer.
No one has a
But you
problem.
won't let anyone finish either.
No one has a problem. I'm trying to rebut what you're saying and present the other side of it. There is no
He hasn't
problem
played
unless
much
you have
ever
a
in his
problem.
career at the defense he's in. I know.
Yes, but he also, as it's been pointed out by True Pilgrim in the chat and now by J2K, he played a lot of press at Utah. He was really good at it. He came into a cover 2 scheme and was asked to play off the ball for basically his entire career until last year when he was injured for basically the entire season and could never really get acclimated to the system. So do we give him a chance to get acclimated to that system this year?
No,
And
I think
if
they're
he
going to cut him
does,
before the
does
season
he-
starts.
Does he start out again go back to that form of a top 10 cornerback? And my question was, how much does that impact this defense? So entertain my question for a second, Brandon, play the other side of it. If he does regain that form within Dennis Allen's defense, does that make this defense better? And how much better does it make it?
100%.
How much better does it make it, Brandon? If Jaylon Johnson were to do that, say he doesn't struggle,
Well, I mean,
say he fills in that role admirably and becomes that guy again.
It would be tremendous because and I'm going to get hated on for this. I think the guy across from him is a failure. So yes, you need Jaylon Johnson to play at an all-pro level like he has before. I don't know he's going to do so in a different scheme, like Kyle mentioned. It's a very different defense, which he hasn't. In the end of last year, he didn't reflect to be a player who fits it. Okay, and
Well,
I
he
think
was
the guy
hurt.
across kind of sucks. So it's going to be detrimental. It's going to be way more important than we think it is
What
that
player is
Jaylon
gonna be
Johnson.
across from him, Brandon?
He's talking
What?
about Tyreek Stevenson.
You're talking about Tyreek Stevenson?
I think it's going to be really important that Jaylon Johnson play at the level that he's played at prior in his career. And guys, Kyle mentioned something that I think we kind of gloss over. This is a tremendous injury, ripped off the bone.
Okay, but by all accounts, he's healthy right now.
Yeah, it's still
You
He
just
started.
heard
He
that
played
he's
at the
moving
end of
around
last
great.
season.
Yeah, it has a high recovery
I think
rate.
it
It's
is
just-
vital to the Bears that
painful.
Jaylon
You
Johnson
can't play
plays
with
the.
it while it's happening.
It's vital to the Bears that Jalen Johnson plays the best football
I
he's
don't,
played
and
in his
I
career.
honestly don't think it's fair to say he didn't get acclimated to the scheme when he played a season at 50% last year. It's not like he was healthy. He was never healthy
Yeah.
from
So
day
saying
one to
what
the end of
J2K
the
is saying
season.
here, I had a problem with that too. Yeah, because
Yeah.
when do you have a chance to to get acclimated if you're not actually playing on the
Right.
field,
Well,
regardless
guys,
of your veteran status.
Let me
or
ask
not,
you this.
know?
Let me ask you
but
this.
J2K says,
If by
hold on, Bernie,
chance, the guy who's been one of the best players in the league at not playing press coverage plays fair to not below average at press coverage. He's a $22 million cap hit. The coach staff that's here didn't fucking draft him. What are the fucking odds this guy's not on the football team?
It's going to depend on how he plays.
First of all, you need a taker. Bernie, you can't just cut $28 million. You need a taker.
Yeah,
If
you
you
think
trade
they're
him,
going to
somebody's
cut
got to
him
be
if
like,
he
yeah,
has an
we'll take him.
all-pro season?
Second of all, you guys,
What?
Montez Sweat came out and said, I'll find you guys the press conference. He said, this is one of the toughest adjustments I've ever made playing professional football. He's a veteran,
Kyle,
J2K. He's a veteran.
Kyle,
he's a
can I add on
seasoned
to what
vet.
you're saying
And he
with
was
that?
like, this is a tough
JJ
scheme
is
to
going to be
learn,
just
man.
fine.
The
Kyle, can
question
I add on to what
was-
you're saying with that?
Yes.
Because Dennis Allen said himself that I did not focus on the fundamentals enough as a coach. He was focused much more on scheme, and these guys grabbing onto that scheme. So and then that's where the fundamentals got lost in terms of the tackling, in terms of the staying in your lanes as a pass rusher, all those things that kind of make a good defense, and that bleeds out into the cornerbacks as well. Being in position. So I mean, like if that is changing as well in terms of how Dennis Allen is approaching, how he's coaching this defense, which is a tough defense that now Jaylon Johnson has a year learning that defense and everybody else does as well. Why is it such a far stretch to say that a very talented, very athletic, very good cornerback in the NFL can find a way in this defense, and that will make your defense, measurably
it's
better?
Not a stretch. It's just the same as it's
certainly
not a
doesn't lack
stretch to
confidence.
say
Certainly
he
doesn't lack
doesn't end up being
confidence.
$100+ million player in this defense. Guys, when you get paid a lot of money, the magnifying glass
Knowledge.
is intense. Okay, and if you're not playing
it's not
to
like
the
he
level,
didn't perform
He's
last
had
year.
one bad year
If you're
because
not-
he was hurt.
It's not like he
okay,
didn't.
I'm
last year.
not going to disagree anymore, man. I'm not
But,
going to.
no,
Dude,
but
you're
it-
sitting here
no, the
literally
disagreement
saying
is
he
good.
sucks as a football
Yeah, I
player.
thought so.
The dude's
but
have one
no.
bad
It is
year in
good.
his career because he was hurt. He's been an all-pro.
God forbid
They
somebody
consider one
plays
of the top
devil's
corners
advocate
in
on
the
it. I was
league.
asked a question. I answered it honestly.
No,
Holy
it's
shit.
not you playing devil's advocate because it's what you really believe.
Hold on, real quick.
But it's okay to have the
Hold on,
disagreement.
J2K says I disagree. Acting like JJ's trying to understand is it's just kind of dumb. I mean, JJ, what do you, J2K? I don't play in the NFL. I don't play football in the NFL. I have no idea how intensive those schemes are. I know what the terminology is. I don't know what I don't know the timing. I don't know any of it. So if Montez Sweat, a professional defensive lineman who's been in the NFL for a long time, came out on stage and said, "I'll tell you," right? They were like, "Hey, how's the adjustment period with Dennis Allen?" He was like, "I'll tell you this. Something every practice makes perfect, time on task. We'll learn it." But I will say, of all the schemes I've learned playing football throughout my lifetime, this one is a little more complex. It's tougher than some in the past. So there's going to be a little bit of adjustment period. And I promise you guys, every single player on this team and year 2 of this defense and offense, when it comes to terminology, they're going to be doing a lot less thinking, a lot more just playing
Right,
football.
react
They're
to
not
playing.
just react. It's not going to be like when the play comes in, they're like, wait, what play was that? What play was that? I just learned this 2 weeks ago. They're just going to read and react because they know all the playbook like the back of their hand. It's not even necessarily adjustment to this scheme, J2K. It's an adjustment at all. Like
Listen,
just learning,
I've said this
scrapping your
before.
entire playbook that you've played with your
I'm
entire
on
life,
record saying
and learning
this
a
before,
brand new
guys.
one. I can't imagine that's super easy. I'm not saying that
Especially
it's
if you're not practicing in Jaylon Johnson. Jaylon Johnson
Which
wasn't
is
even
not a
practicing.
defense or excuse for Jaylon Johnson. The injury is the problem on the player. That's the person responsible for it. No matter how much you want to
it
view
does
it.
make a difference,
But
Brandon.
I want to say this, guys.
It makes a difference for
I
Rome
said this months ago on this
His
show.
injury
And
made
you
a
can
difference in his
disagree all you
performance.
want. When you retain a person like Dennis Allen, let's say he's good enough to keep his job here, and you've got these players on your team that got these contracts, these guys that he didn't draft, I'm telling you now, in a few years from now, the guys, and I'm sorry, Bears fans, with the love for these players, the reality is most of these guys, Jaylon Johnson, Montez Sweat, Jervon Dexter, won't fucking be here, guys.
Well, because they're going to be old and it's going to be time to move on.
J2K
not like
says
Because they're not
Johnson's a
Dennis
spring chicken.
Allen's. They're not Dennis Allen's player. Jaylon Johnson's not old.
I think Jaylon Johnson's going to have a good year. I guess that's really my point. I think
Here, well, I
with
put
him
this
being
together
healthy.
because this is what I think the best version of this Bears secondary looks like this year. And I'm basically just going to say that the reason I feel this way, it might not start that way. I think Bryant's value gets them younger, more versatile, ball hawking safety. Kevin Byard's still being here would be better at the beginning of the year because he knows the scheme. I think you have Dylan Thieneman, who I think eventually will also be better. You had a physical, versatile.
Thieneman's going to be awesome to start.
In Brisker, I think that maybe not right off the bat because adjusting to the NFL doesn't. If you think he's going to be fine from day one, that's fine. I think that it's going to take a little bit of time for him to ascend and become that player. Do I believe in him? Yes, I think Bryant and Brisker, higher proven floor. Bryant and Thieneman,
much higher ceiling. Much higher ceiling, yes.
And a better roster built for it. And I think this is what gives you the best opportunity to have the best secondary for the Bears on Sundays. Obviously, the whole panel doesn't agree.
They fit the Dennis Allen system better, Sean. They're more rangy safeties. They're minus Kevin Byard, but between the two of them, you now have more range than you did with Byard and Brisker in terms of covering the field and in terms of speed. Real quick, I agree. I wanted to respond to J2K. I know you did in the chat. He says, if the scheme was so hard to learn, why did Wright have such a good year at cornerback? All I've been told is that he didn't have a good year at cornerback. And you look at the numbers, he got burned a lot. He had a good year. He had a good year as a turnover specialist.
He didn't get injured.
A lot of turnovers.
And that's not dependable.
A coverage cornerback, he was not.
That's not sustainable.
Good,
the takeaways aren't the takeaways will come and go. If he plays 10 years in the NFL,
played every game.
Takeaways. That season with takeaways.
He's the only one who did. And I'm going to say, and I'll say this, guys. In my honest opinion, the Bears cornerbacks, the two guys on the outside, will finish outside the top 15 in the NFL.
All right, is that it?
They're going to fall outside the top. Yeah, I'm done. Okay.
Jesus, Sean, you got the graphic for the
one
Bears?
Sentence, bro.
Kyle, go ahead.
I was just saying, without you could say, I know the response is always going to be, yeah, but he did have the takeaways, Kyle, but that's not sustainable. You can't rely on that for the rest of your career. There's going to be years where Nation on Wright does have takeaways. There's going to be years where he doesn't. But I'll tell you this, I'd much rather have a guy in Jaylon Johnson who gives his defender much less space and is just more fundamentally sound player. And like you said earlier, Dustin, the quarterback's like, I'm just not going to throw it over there because there's just not creating a lot of separation over there. This is not happening. And he's had games where he shut down Justin Jefferson for like 3 catches for 26 yards. You cannot say the guy is not good. But if you're talking about which would I rather have, the takeaways or one of the best shutdown corners of football, I'm taking the shutdown corner football all day, every day, not even. I'd take Darrelle Revis over anybody who led the league in interceptions any day of the week, guys.
I would take Deion Sanders over Darrelle Revis, but Deion Sanders could do both. I would just say this, man. The reason I brought it up is because I do have this thing. It's like it feels like we're just adding this, like you said, Kyle, a free agent to this team that we didn't have last year, that this defense did not have. Dennis Allen can utilize him in the right way. Yeah. Right, and in terms of health this season, and Kyler Gordon is it's up in the air, Sean.
I know.
He's dealing with the injury right now too.
Kyle asked a great question in Zach Pearson and saying, was Jaylon recovering from an injury, or was he just not really all that good in this fucking scheme? So the question exists not only in my brain.
Well, no, but Jaylon Johnson is now finally healthy, so that's not.
I thought it was a great question.
That's not really how Kyle asked the question.
I asked if there was an adjustment period, not like I just guarantee he sucks in the system. Like, is he adjusting?
We also just can't guarantee that he adjusts.
So you're telling me that there's nobody in this chat or any on the panel, obviously Sean and Dustin, I think you agree with me, but you got nobody in this chat believes that if the Bears just being in the second year of the same scheme, what offense or defense doesn't matter.
Adding Jaylon Johnson, who they did not have.
Well, no, and just learning, knowing the terminology, knowing you all have the same goal, you know exactly what the coach wants. You're telling me that will make anybody any better in any way, shape, or form. I just don't believe that. To me, that's crazy. That's crazy to think that these guys are not going to get better because they have experience with this playbook, with this coach, with this coaching staff, with their teammates that are now next to them. They're getting more cohesive as a unit. Like Austin Booker's not going to get better from year one.
You're 100% true.
I don't understand it. Like Jaylon Johnson doesn't get a year to adjust to Dennis Allen's scheme and more press coverage, like Brendan's talking about.
Or to get healthy.
Maybe he learns it. Maybe he masters press coverage and becomes the best in the NFL at that because he's just a badass and he's confident. Jaylon Johnson does not lack confidence in any way, shape, or form. If they tell him this is what we want you to do, we want you to be the best at it, Jaylon Johnson's going to do everything he can in his power to be the best at whatever they ask him to do. I promise you that. I've listened to every interview of his on the 670 or ESPN 1000 for the last 5 years. That guy is going to succeed in this defense. I promise you. He's going to, maybe doesn't have as great a numbers as he did under Matt Eberflus. Maybe they drop a little bit, but he's still going to be good. He's not going to be handicapped with the Chicago Bears. Jaylon Johnson's an athlete and he loves football.
I'm with you.
And he's good at it.
I think we're going to start doing this thing. We're going to talk ourselves into this defense.
No, let's throw
special.
Let's throw the graphic. No, Brandon, you're misinterpreting. listen, again, it's just a question. Is Jaylon Johnson coming back going to make this defense better? Because when you look at this graphic here,
Of course,
the Bears are the third highest paid defense in the NFL behind the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens.
And they're not going to play like it, guys.
Million. And last year they were the fourth, I believe.
They're not going to play like it, guys.
And they allowed 360 yards a game last year, guys. 361.8 yards per game, being one of the highest paid defenses in the NFL. Are we looking at more of the same this year, Sean?
No, because the guys that you had on that, the guys that make up all that salary didn't play. They did. Extended didn't play.
Well,
Extended didn't play. Tremaine Edmonds missed a quarter of the season. TJ
Edwards.
Both those guys were paid here. None of the guys that Ryan Poles is like, I paid these guys because I think they're the best defenders available. And these
Dio, did you mention Dio?
Yeah, Dio wasn't on the field. None of these guys were on the field.
Grady Jarrett was hurt the first half of the season.
By default, the defense should get better. Now, listen, Dustin, am I saying, and Sean, I'll let you go in a second here. Am I saying that I think that every move that Ryan Poles has made is a good move? Absolutely not. I don't like Dio. You guys know that. I said that the day he did it. Remember that? Have I not said that since day one? I've been very consistent about the fact that I don't like paying guys on potential. Oh, he had 3.5 sacks last year, but he had 28 pressures. Like, I don't care. Then give me a guy who's had 10 sacks and stop telling me a guy can. Go get me a guy who had.
Yeah, let's get it.
But there's no doubt that even with the injuries last year, which you have to give him some leeway because all the guys he paid, the guys who got extended here, were all injured. Outside of that, yeah, Ryan Poles says this is not the defense you want with $177 million invested.
Third highest paid defense.
And it's
you notice, Dustin, could you put that list back up there, Dustin?
Sean,
and it's still not, guys. I'm going to stay consistent. The things I've said since the beginning of the offseason, this team's going to have to win football games on offense. They're going to be in games in which they need the ball last, and most importantly,
hold on, Brendan. We'll get to that in a second. She's just asking about this right now. You could talk about the Bears' lack of efficiency, where you think they're going to finish the season. He's talking about this, the top highest paid NFL defense. You know what's really scary? You know what's really scary about that is the fact that the New York Giants have Brian Burns, the Baltimore Ravens have Trey Hendrickson, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have TJ Watt. So the Bears don't even have an elite pass rusher, and they're still number 3. That's scary.
Yeah, but they paid a guy like it.
Scary shit.
They paid Montez Sweat like it. Yeah,
I think
they did.
I think the Bears defense is going to struggle regardless how much they're paid. And I think it's because you have a good core and Coby Bryant, now Dylan Thieneman, Devin Bush. And outside of those guys, everyone else is expendable as far as Dennis Allen's concerned. So you're not there yet. You do not have the defense that Dennis Allen hoped to have molded to run his scheme. He's got, 3 or 4 players out of 11 that he wants playing in this.
I don't think everybody else is expendable. I don't think Kyler Gordon's expendable. I don't think Jaylon Johnson's expendable right now.
If Kyler Gordon doesn't get on the football field, Ben Johnson just kind of said.
I don't know that DeMarco Jackson is.
You think Austin Booker's expendable?
Jackson's a bridge.
I don't know if you guys are all. You guys, in the last 6 weeks.
I'm not doing this thing again. I'm not doing this again.
In the last 6 weeks of last season.
Well, then let us do it.
In the last 6 weeks of last season.
Then respond.
Austin Booker in those 6 weeks had 4.5 sacks. He should have had 6.5, but 2 of them were taken away because it was illegal hits. Whatever, fine, let that be. He had I think the most pressures of any player on the Chicago Bears, and he had, I think, in those 6 weeks he had 26 tackles or something, the most tackles of any defensive lineman on the Bears. If you take that 6-game stint and you stretch that into 17 games where he's now comfortable and he's not coming off an injury,
man.
You're talking about a guy who could.
We did a whole show about that, Brandon.
He'd be on pace for 13 sacks. He'd be on pace for 13
sacks.
Sean, where are you at with this? Let's let Sean get in, guys.
Remove the money. Where is this defense ranked on paper for you?
Well, last year they were one of the worst.
I think this year.
Where do you rank them on paper, guys? I don't care about last year. Where do you rank this?
Well, Brendan, let us finish you answer the question, then you repeat it. Let us answer.
This year, where do they rank on paper?
I think they're going to finish around 15.
Sean, what are your thoughts on how much this defense is getting paid versus the production you're getting out of them up to this point and what you're expecting to get out of them this year?
Well, based on last year's numbers, it wasn't very good.
Because they were high on that list last year too, Sean, in terms of salary paid.
They were. I think injuries had a big factor in it. I said this last, I think it was Wednesday. The key to this defense for me, obviously, they got more speed, they got more versatility. Coby Bryant, number 1 draft pick this year, Dylan, DT. You add speed at the linebacker position in Devin Bush. Kyler Gordon, obviously staying on the field and unlocking Austin Booker are the 2 keys to what I think will be a successful Bears defense if those 2 can stay on the field. They're difference makers. We saw it against the Green Bay Packers. What Kyler Gordon brings to this team what we started to see Austin Booker evolve into after he got acclimated on the field. Again, missed 6 weeks, took him time, learn the scheme, get after the quarterback. He did it very well. He lived in Jordan Love's lap when they played him. He was consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. He had 6 hits down the stretch. He had, I think it was 3.5, 4 sacks going down the stretch to finish the year. This is the signs of an ascending player who is starting to get it. He spent this offseason working out. I personally said this on Wednesday. I think the Bears didn't go after one of these big top defensive ends. They didn't draft a defensive end because I think they believe they have that on their football team right now in Austin Booker. Could they be wrong? Absolutely. But if Austin Booker is that, look at what that does for Montez Sweat. Again, the Montez Sweat hate, very unwarranted, coming off one of his best professional seasons last year. We paid him like he was a stud. Well, guess what, guys? He was a fucking stud last year, without a doubt.
Compared to the names Kyle just mentioned?
Compared to what he was asked to do in the Chicago Bears defense.
He hasn't had a chance.
You guys sat here and said he couldn't get double-digit sacks in the Chicago Bears. He did that exactly.
Yeah, it's not even, he's a rookie. He's a rookie.
Guys, where do you win football games? Where do you win football games, guys? Where's football won and lost?
I don't believe the trenches are going to be as bad either. I think that the Bears have a number.
Where do you rank them, Sean, on paper?
I think they're going to be around 15. Like I'm with Kyle, somewhere in the middle of the league.
You rank them on paper 15th.
I think they've improved in positions. I think they've gotten faster. I think they got higher IQ on the defensive side of the ball. I think, again, keeping Kyler Gordon on the field, if he can stay on the field, will be a huge difference. Ascending Austin Booker. You just want to throw all these things out, and then you want to sit here and act like Montez Sweat didn't have 10 sacks last year. He did. He did his job. He set the edge. He was a difference maker.
Bitched about the defense last year.
He wasn't Myles Garrett. He's not your favorite player, and
all we complained about last year was the defense.
Jesus Christ, dude!
They were 32nd ranked in everything, and you think they're 15th.
What I want you to do is give Montez Sweat his respect, because you sat here last year and said he couldn't be a double sack guy on the Chicago Bears, and he exactly did that and proved you wrong. But you still won't sit here and say he did his job on the defense.
Sean, you sat here.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, relax.
You were wrong. You were wrong. Admit it.
You sat here last year.
Had 10 sacks.
You sat here last year and said that
I was told he couldn't do that.
You said, Sean, you sat here.
He sucked.
Oh my God. Shut the fuck up. You sat here last year. You sat here last year and said the defense sucked all season long.
All right.
You guys,
all season.
2 of the 3 years he's been here, he's been a double. I know half the season was with Washington. I know, I understand that, but still, you can't. All he can do is get sacks, right? Like he doesn't.
Guys,
we're
doing this again. We're doing this all over again.
Okay, Brandon, let me make a point here. I think last year at the end of the season when DeMarco Jackson,
when we all thought they sucked, the defense.
When DeMarco Jackson got plugged into this defense, you saw something change.
They were still ranked 32nd.
Brandon, can you let me finish my fucking sentence, dude? Jesus Christ. When you saw DeMarco Jackson get plugged into this defense, you saw his speed and his just straight reaction and just playing. You saw how that impacted this defense in a positive way. They got better. Yes, Kyle? Brandon,
yes.
Did they not play better with DeMarco Jackson in that role?
He was really good against the Rams.
He played well enough to earn $3 million.
Not done. Thank you. Devin Bush, I think the Bears saw what DeMarco Jackson did in this defense and said, if we can keep DeMarco Jackson and we can add more speed and that type of just straight line, go get the guy, and a guy that's much better in coverage, this defense can get better. I think this defense will be better.
What a vague statement, dude.
I think this defense
can get better. Okay.
Let me fucking finish, dude.
Are you?
This defense is going to be better just based on its speed, but we need to redefine what good is for this defense, because I don't think they need to be the 15th best defense in the league for this team to be a winning team this year.
Do you think they will be?
I don't. I think they'll be about 20. And I think if they can hit 20th in the league, then this offense is good enough that they will win more games than they lose. I think the offense is going to need to score more points than the other team more often than not in order for this defense to be carried through this season. In order for this season to be a successful one, you're going to be banking on your offense. I've been saying that forever. Do I think this defense will improve? Yes. But I don't think they need to be a top 10 defense for this team to be a winning football team. I think if you're 20 in that area, I think that's good enough for the offensive weapons they have. Okay. No, but you're good enough. I think that there's a thought process in Halas Hall. Dennis Allen, just get us good enough. Get a couple of stops, get us off the field, get us enough possessions that we can score more points than the other team. And I think you got to be okay with that as a Bears fan.
Which unit was worse last year?
What? Clearly, the defense was one of the worst units in football.
Which unit did they invest more in the draft?
Brandon, they replaced players that they let go.
Why not just answer a question?
They replaced
which unit did they
because you're leading the witness is what you're doing.
Yes,
Brandon.
I am.
You're not addressing the injuries that Sean brought up. You're not talking about. You're not going to talk about Kyler Gordon, Jaylon Johnson, Shamar Turner.
We did this last year.
You're not going to talk about any of that.
I was right.
Hey, Brandon, where did they invest more money in free agency?
In Gallimore?
Who was their number one pick?
Sean, where'd they invest?
Coby Bryant, Devin Bush, Dylan Finneman.
Where'd they invest money in free agency the year before?
Brandon, you know exactly that they invested already in the defensive line, and we said going into the draft, you got to get comfortable with the fact that they're not going to be taking defensive linemen. Because Ryan Poles, I said that as well. Okay, Brandon, you said it. Jesus Christ, dude.
All right, man. Let's
end this.
Why would the Bears defense? And you just said they're going to be 20th ranked. That's not good.
It's good enough, Brandon. That's my point.
I didn't ask you if they're good enough. I asked you if they're good on paper. Are they good?
I don't think this defense is that good. No. I didn't think it was that good last year, and I was saying that going into the draft. But Brandon, apparently, just you said.
Reel it in, everybody.
Jesus Christ! Why you gotta do that?
Justin's got him at 20.
And here, I'll say this.
Sean and I got him at 15. I'm gonna guess Brandon's got him at 32. So let's move on.
I'm gonna say they went from 32 to 23rd.
Here, I'll say this. Paul Martin has a really good point here because when we were talking about the 08 Cardinals that played the Steelers, they went to the Super Bowl. The offense carried them. You know where their defense was ranked, Brandon? Take a wild guess.
I think they were 8-8, Sean, as a team, right? That year?
I think they were a wild card team. I think they were 9-7.
They were a wild card team that beat the Packers.
You're proving to me the defense was bad?
The defense was bad. They were ranked 20th in the fucking league.
I didn't ask if the defense is good enough. I asked you if they're good.
Okay, but I'm telling you that if they're good enough, then that's enough for this team to have a successful season. I'm not asking them to be a top 5 defense.
Successful season was never a topic of discussion.
Hold on. Well, we just gave you an example of a team that went to the Super Bowl led by an offense in a
Sean, many teams have. Defense. Many teams have. What is your point?
The point is, Dustin just said they're good enough to get there at 20. And I
never disputed that. I never disputed how good the Bears could be.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Yeah, so
I asked
none of us think that this is a world-beating defense.
We have to move on.
It's quite
Stacey King.
Yeah,
seriously.
Chicago lost a legend this week, guys. One of the most well-respected guys in all the NBA and certainly in the Bulls organization, Stacey King, from what we believe is, I guess, a fall in his house, which is completely unexpected, devastating. Because it's not like this guy was battling cancer. By all accounts, Stacey King was very healthy, a very young personality. He's been absolutely amazing as a Bull broadcaster. He was a ton of fun to watch when he was playing with the Bulls and winning championships. Gone way too soon, man. Absolutely way too soon. And that's this one for Chicago sports fans. If you really are a big Bulls fans, this one cuts deep, man.
He was the best color. He was the best local color commentator in basketball. If I've had League Pass many times, and you jump around the channels and you listen to people, and like Stacey King was a reason to tune into the Bulls, even when they weren't that good, because his calls were just that good. And I mean, I watched him play as a kid, but like he wasn't that good of a player. He was a really good player in college.
Role player,
yeah. He wasn't that good. He was drafted really high, like 6 overall. So like they had high hopes for him, but he didn't turn into that.
He was one of the better defenders.
But then he turned into. What he did, guys, he took over for Johnny Red Kerr in that booth. And then those were huge shoes to fill. And you didn't know if he could do it.
Dustin, I don't think it was on purpose. I think they put him in there and he kind of just
took it.
Yeah, I think if you listen to Johnny Red Curry, he had an interview where he's like, I don't know, one day I was in the driver's seat and Stacey King got here, and all of a sudden I was in the passenger seat. And I don't think he was saying it to be like negative or
Johnny Red Curry was getting old. Kyle, do you remember we were watching a game in your apartment in Grays Lake years ago, and the Bulls were about to get to 100, and Joakim Noah was shooting free throws, and then they panned to the audience, and there was like this bigger kid jumping up and down on the fucking screen, and Johnny Red Curry's like, I don't think that kid needs any Big Macs. Like, Johnny Red Curry was really good, but he was also kind of losing his mind. But either way, there were huge shoes to fill, and yes, Stacey King took it over amazing, and just the catchphrases, and I mean, mouse in the house, free cheese, beat drive home safe in Chicago, too big, too strong, too fast. I mean,
get up or get out the way.
You know what I think is
I'm not here for the massage. I'm here for the facial. Like just crazy
shit. Trace.
The one that's burned into it was going to be burned into Bulls fans forever is that I understand that Stacey King liked Nikolai Vukovic a lot, and he wanted the Bulls to run the offense through Vukovic, but they refused to. And he always said whenever they did for like a couple minutes stint and he scored a bunch of points or they looked really good, he'd say, guys, it's a very simple game. Like you got like telling the fan base like, yeah, not so happy with the current regime. I love Stacey King, man. I think he was great for the Bulls. I think he was good for Bulls fans and the organization. I think Stacey King.
Sad,
I don't think he was afraid to call the Bulls out for things he thought were.
He had rose-colored glasses with the Bulls. It was his job too, Kyle, for sure.
I think
I love him. I absolutely love him.
Favorite thing of Stacey King is he might have been a bigger Bulls fan than any Bulls fan. That's a Bulls fan.
Yeah, he was just a fan watching the game, reacting.
And not only did he
wears hard on his sleeve, man.
He was there. The voice of the Bulls was Neil Funk, and after Neil Funk retired and plug in Adam Amin, Stacey King was the voice of the Bulls, guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Familiar voice of the Bulls, and like Dustin said, he was 59 years old. He had actually, for those of us who watched the Bulls pretty religiously, he had actually just lost a bunch of weight. And what sucks is Pat Hughes is when a guy is about to retire, like Neil Funk did, like guys, what's the guy on the Hawks, Sean?
Pat Hughes?
No, the older guy.
Pat Hughes is the Cubs.
Pat Foley.
Pat Foley, that's what it was. Yeah.
When these guys are retiring, they announce it. You know what I mean? They say, "This is my final year. This is it for me," and you know it's coming. And this just breaks your heart because Stacey King, like I said, Adam Amin's only been around for 2 years. After Neil Funk's retirement, Stacey King was the familiar voice of the Bulls, and now you're going to walk into a season with just unfamiliarity at really both positions, the color commentator and the broadcast. So it's like this kills me. It's a guy who's lived and breathed this organization. Like I said, he's just a big giant fucking fan of the Bulls.
20 years he's been doing it.
Yeah. Sucks, man. It sucks because you don't get to even prepare yourself for the change. That's what really hurts me the most. I think is I'm going to turn on game 1 of the Bulls season next year, expecting to hear Stacey King, and it's just like that. Pat, like a guy like Pat Hughes on the Cubs. He's it's pretty obvious to all of us that Zach Zaidman's doing this 5th innings because he's going to eventually be the voice of the Cubs. You know what's coming. You're preparing yourself for it, and this just and I got to agree. Morgan, more than just the catch slogans, there's just not a guy who had the energy Stacey King.
He was the best color commentator.
When I watch a Bulls game, right, Dustin? You remember you turn on the Bulls game and you get the broadcast of the home team, like the fucking Washington, whatever the guys who would usually do that. You're just like, this is ass.
Yeah, nobody brought the energy like Stacey King. Yeah. So it's sad, man, and it just reminds you of how fragile life is, man. Nothing wrong with the guy. Apparently falls down at home. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I got a lost tape of him. A lost tape interview.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go. I'm sorry, baby is losing their mind, and wife needs some help. I love you guys. Weird show, but it was fun. I'll talk to you later. All right.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. Take care of your family.
Drive home safe, Chicago.
Let's hear it, Sean.
There you go.
Oh yeah. I can give you one right now. It'll be funny too. You ready? When I was in college, I was a big Michael Jordan fan.
For Oklahoma at center, a 6'10" junior from Lawton, Oklahoma, number 33, Stacey King.
I had a poster of Michael Jordan on my wall. So when I would go to the game, I would actually rub the poster, one time, sometimes twice if I wanted to have a really, really good game. And I'd go out and score 30, 40. And so I always attributed touching MJ's poster brought me luck. So then, how ironic, I get drafted by the Bulls. So my first game, come in, I felt like I didn't need the poster anymore because I got Michael Jordan next to me now. I remember going out getting ready to go shoot. Michael was had his shirt off. He's had his North Carolina shorts on, so he's in the middle of getting dressed, which is kind of awkward if you think about this story I'm going to tell you. I start to walk out, and I go, wait, you know what? I used to touch his poster. I think I'm going to touch him. What luck with that? That'll be really awesome because I get to touch the real guy now, and that'll bring me luck. So I walk over to MJ. He's, his shirt's off. He's got his back turned to me. He's in his North Carolina shorts. He's getting dressed. And I walk over and I rub him twice. Now that I look back on it, it was kind of awkward. So he looks at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh man, I used to touch your poster when I was in college. Man, it used to bring me luck." He said, "Man, get away from me, dude. Don't be doing that." I'm like, and I didn't think it was weird at the time, but then I looked back and I said, "Oh yeah, that might have been a little bit crossing the line." But after that, I didn't have to touch him anymore. He said, "Don't ever touch me again. I'm on your team." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." But your mind tells you, it's a mind thing. You got to believe in something.
It takes terrific concentration to try and hold and maintain a lead, particularly in this building. King. The Bulls with a three. And they've done it with Michael Jordan sitting out.
I thought that was pretty funny when I found it. I went searching for some stories. I got his chicken story here too, if you guys want to hear that and relive one more memory.
Watching Michael Jordan get up and jump and cheer for Stacey King is
Stacey
pretty
King?
fucking cool.
Here we go. We got one more before we get out of here.
The most serious one they did on me, they sent me out to get some chicken after a basketball game, knowing that we only had 30 minutes to catch a late night flight. He got lost. We sent him out for some chicken to bring on the plane. We had chartered flight, and he didn't get there. We waited for about an hour and a half, and he still didn't get there.
I think Bill passed that order down. He's the oldest vet on the team, and he had Stacey go get some chicken, and he missed the plane, and some expensive chicken.
Stacey was set out to get some chicken, and yes, Stacey did miss the charter, and yes, Stacey did have to pay for his own plane. I think it was to Atlanta.
So I was stuck with 2 big buckets full of chicken, no players to eat it with, and wound up throwing it all away.
Some expensive chicken.
That was all his fault. He just basically he didn't know his way around the city, so he just got lost and misplayed on his own. Then again, he one of them rookies. He probably missed it on purpose.
I caught a flight the next morning to Atlanta, wound up getting fined and chastised by all the players. They tease me still today about it.
Some expensive chicken.
When you're a rookie, you got to be smart. You got to expect the unexpected.
Stacey King was the shit, guys. It sucks.
Yeah, Bruce says it best.
The most serious one they did on me, they sent me out to get some chicken after a basketball game, knowing that we only had 30 minutes to catch a late night flight. He got lost. We sent him out for some chicken to bring on the plane. We had chartered flight, and he didn't get there. We waited for about an hour and a half, and he still didn't get there.
I think Bill passed that order down. He's the oldest vet on the team.
What happened?
I don't know, Sean. I don't know if he accidentally played that video, but yeah, Bruce says it best right here. He says Stacey King class act. If there's 2 words to describe Stacey King, it has to be class act, man. He's just, you could just tell, man. He's not just one of these guys who takes a free job after he retires from the NBA to make money, man. He was a dude who loved basketball. He loved being around basketball, and by all accounts, he was one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And obviously lost way too early, man. Especially for something like Brennan talked about. Usually when you're about to lose these guys, there's some long retirement speech, something like that. But for a guy 59 years old,
you remember, Kyle, you get the last game wave. He gets up.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember Brennan. The one that impacted me the most was Len Casper with the Cubs. I love Len Casper. I know a lot of people didn't. Len Casper was kind of one of those guys.
He crushed me, man.
But Len Casper, man, I've listened to Len Casper so much, so many games. I think he was here for so long. I mean, it's 162 games a season. You start to get used to hearing that voice, and then all of a sudden he decides at the snap of a finger that he's going to go be the White Sox play-by-play guy on radio, and that to me was soul crushing. I still miss Len Casper today.
Dude, I've been blessed, dude. I had Eric Carey. I got to hear Eric Carey. I got to hear Pat Foley. I got to hear. I know this sucks because he went to be a Packer, but Wayne Larrivee, when he was on the Bears, was really, really good too. I really enjoy Wayne Larrivee. Kind of broke my heart when he left to go join the rival Green Bay Packers. But I mean, we got Jeff Joniak now. We've been blessed with some really great color analyst commentators in this town, and this one does suck, man. And little Kansas connection. I was watching interviews with Stacey King earlier today, and I watched his interview prior to losing to Danny and the Miracles in 1988 national championship game. And then I watched his post-game interview, and he was heartbroken and said he couldn't believe they lost. We beat Kansas twice that year, and we go into the national championship. This is supposed to be ours. I was like, wow. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that Stacey King was on that team, that Oklahoma team in '88 that lost to Danny and the Miracles. So that was kind of awesome looking back on that today. But you guys are right, man. Stacey King was pretty special, and he will be missed in Chicago. Another icon lost for our city.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see who takes his place. Obviously, Adam Amin will be there, but Adam Amin still does a lot of national stuff, ESPN stuff. So I think they're probably going to bring somebody into this organization with some familiarity. You're probably going to see maybe an old Chicago Bulls player take over at the table there, at least get some guest appearances, maybe a guy like Joakim Noah, somebody like that. But yeah, it's going to suck, man. It's going to suck. It's not the same. It'll never be the same.
Does he deserve a bronze statue outside of the United Center?
Yeah, absolutely, man. The voice of Chicago for 20 years.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. I would love to see Kirk Heinrich do some games.
What about a banner hanging in the rafters?
Yeah, as a broadcaster, for sure.
Whole career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 3-time champion. He's a 3-time champion.
Yeah, I'm not saying retire his number or anything, but yeah, definitely put a banner up there that says, "Hey, thanks for everything you did, man. We appreciate you." And
he had a 95 number, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's a local guy, so unless you're getting the broadcast of the Bulls from another fan base, you're not going to really know much about Stacey King. But the reality is, man, it's not just being a Bulls fan. He was one of the best that ever did it. I mean, there's no doubt. There's not a lot of people like Stacey King where you feel
larger than life,
and you feel hyped enough to feel like you're playing on the team. I mean, I remember moments where a guy like Taj Gibson had that dunk on the Celtics, and he did does anybody know how to post videos to Facebook? I felt like I was Taj Gibson in that moment, man.
There's so many moments. Give me the hot sauce, sriracha, onions, baby,
the Kyle Korver stuff. Yeah.
Onions, baby, onion. Or how about when he made that one? I forgot who it was who dunked on him, but he drew little Stewie Griffin's face on him. He's like, look, it's little Stewie Griffin. He was just
when he did we're having a block party. Yeah, he had so many signature phrases.
The man, dude.
It was his energy. It was the fact that some of these guys, man, you just know they're not like Adam Amin. Who says he's a Bears fan? I don't know if fucking Adam Amin's a Bears fan. You knew Stacey King was a fan of the Bulls.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point because Bougiambi is not a Cubs fan, and I don't think he's as good as Len Casper was. And people always want to debate me on that. I think Bougiambi was a really good ESPN analyst. He's very professional, well-spoken, articulate, and the Cubs were like, we're a high-spending organization unless it comes to our players. So we're going to go get the best of the best of the best coaches and play-by-play guys. And
another mistake on the north side.
Yeah, Len Casper was the man, and they should have replaced him with somebody like Anthony Rizzo or Mark Grace or somebody who had a huge investment in this team.
By the way, I don't know if you heard last night, but I thought Anthony Rizzo did a fantastic job.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing. Did it surprise you? Didn't surprise me at all, dude.
Like breaking down pitches, like what he was seeing. I was like, dude, this is impressive shit, dude. Like really good.
Did he broadcast the game?
Yeah. Oh, it was a crowded box. It was a crowded box. There was like what, six shots, 6 of them?
I watched the game, but I had
people?
I had the volume off.
I think there
Yeah,
was
he
6 of them in
was.
the box. It was
I
Jim
mean, they kept it.
Deshaies. It was Jim Deshaies was in the box with Anthony Rizzo. Then it
Hunter
was
Pence.
Hunter Pence was there, yeah. And then who's that guy? Who's the black guy who does he works? He does a lot of marquee. The older guy, he's got a goatee.
Oh,
What is his name, man? I always forget his name. I don't know, man. But the broadcast was awesome, and Anthony Rizzo was the best part.
The guy
He
that
was-
talks real
Anthony
slow.
Rizzo is
Kyle?
by far the best part.
The black guy that talks really slow.
Yeah, he kind of talks slow.
Now, why can't I think of his
He's got a
name?
goatee. He's got a goatee. I don't know. He's awesome though. I like.
You're gonna get off this show.
And I like Jim Deshaies too. I don't dislike Bougiabi. I just don't believe that Bougiabi's a Cubs fan, and he's not.
I don't like
He's a Phillies
I
fan.
don't dislike Boog Shambi. I dislike him in the Cubs booth.
Yeah, he's a Phillies fan. He should be in the Phillies booth, and I'd
Yeah,
be fine with it.
He's not.
I understand he's very professional, articulate, just like Adam Amin. Adam Amin is very articulate, well spoken. He's not dumb. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's quick. His thoughts are very quick. He's got a quick wit. He's not like Mr. Personality. You know, he's like that. I'm going to get you the game on the radio or on TV, and you're going to understand how the game is, what's happening in the game by what I say. But like Brandon said, Stacey King not only was he amazing at portraying the game to listeners, you understood the game of what was happening or what kind of defense or offense we're playing, the scheme, whatever the situation. He was also just energetic, and he loved the Bulls. And he when they had a backbreaking 3-pointer or a block or a slam dunk, nobody got more excited about it than Stacey King. Nobody.
Yeah, and for me, guys, it goes Pat Foley, Pat Hughes, Johnny Redker, Stacey King. He's definitely top 5 for me. He's my
No Harry Carey.
I didn't.
Well, Harry Carey was a terrible amount. He was just hilarious.
I didn't get to hear Harry Carey.
Harry Carey was not good at portraying the game. If you were listening on the radio, you're like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
Unfortunately, when did Harry Carey retire, Sean?
Shit, like I want to say,
I think he was
93.
I think Steve Stone was good too for the Cubs too. Yeah, he was.
He was.
Yeah, I didn't start watching the Cubs till probably like 2013. Man.
Steve Stone was good too.
I didn't know anything about
that one. Was heartbreaking too. That Steve Stone went from the Cubs to the White Sox. A lot of the guys in Chicago leave and go to like rivals. Maybe it's like
Oh wow, it was 98.
It's like the team almost pisses.
Oh no, he never officially retired. He died. Still with the Cubs.
I was gonna say. I was literally about to say either they forced him out or he died. I don't think he retired.
His final
he didn't
season
leave on his own will.
His final season ended September 21st, 1997 at Wrigley Field. He died during the offseason.
Yeah.
He died February 18th, 1996.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw. For some reason, Google says that Stacey King retired. He did not. He was still under contract and coming back this season to be the Bulls color commentator. I don't know why Google says he retired.
Yeah, mad love and respect to Stacey King. Anything you guys want to talk about, man? Because I
gotta get off this thing too. I gotta go prepare for my long day tomorrow.
I gotta go prepare dinner for myself.
Oh,
yeah, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow before work, so I'm gonna be gone all day.
Well, until next time, folks. It's like
we appreciate you.
I didn't hear what you said, man. You guys take care of yourself so you can take care of each other, man. And go Bears. Love
Go Bears.
Remember, guys, we only sometimes we get a little snappy with each other just because we're so passionate about this team. We absolutely love the Chicago Bears. And with the way the Cubs season is going, it looks like the Bears are all we got left.
Yeah, with the way the Cubs season's going, tune into Northside 9. That might get a little.
We had people love it. Sean, people loved when Sean and I were just absolutely destroying that organization. They loved it. That was a great show for us.
If they lose in Colorado, Kyle, I don't know what else I have to say.
Oh, I have plenty to say. You better be trading some Suzuki's.
You know what? If they lose in Colorado, dude, we're just gonna do an all minor league show.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the minor league teams from other teams who hey, the Yankees need a left fielder, and Ian Happ is available.
Send him off.
Let's get out of here. All right,
boys. When is the first game of that series? Tomorrow?
Yep.
Tomorrow night, 7:40.
Then they go to San Fran to get their asses whipped by them again, and then they go back to. Then they play Colorado again. I think.
Can't wait.
All right, boys. Love you.
Love everybody.